who has seen the Dungeons and Dragons movie trailer?
I have. It looks great.
Looks terrible.
Why does it look terrible?
It just looks like they've taken. It doesn't look like it's
Liz,
anything to do with Dungeons and Dragons. Hello. I did say hello, but you fucking ignored me. I said hello. I said hello, but you ignored me, you prick.
Yeah, God was talking. God was talking.
Yeah, God, at the top here, look. I don't like the look of it, Randy, either.
It looks like a Marvel sort of, like what they've been doing with Marvel, where it's just another bunch of special effects, bunch of famous actors, same kind of humor that we're seeing in all of the Marvel movies. It's fast food.
Like Chris Pine with the rope and the powerful one. He's knocking out all the men, and he's going, "Oh, I should have picked a sharper." If that was the one joke, mate, yes.
Yeah.
I'm not averse to jokes, but
no, neither am I.
Okay, and I'm going to stand firm. I'm going to disagree with all of you. I mean, all of you who are of that mind. And I'll tell you what, this is how I judge a movie before it comes out, is I look at the trailer. Yeah. And from the trailer, can I tell what the story is? And I absolutely can with that, right? So we are thieves. We have helped someone unleash the greatest evil that the world has ever seen.
That's it.
And now
say that. Yeah.
Yeah. And now we're going to try to make things right. Okay, that is a story. And to me, that's a funny story. And I am totally willing to go in and give it a try because they've got a story. And you look at a lot of the other stuff, no story, right? I mean, you watch it and like, yeah, but what is it about? I mean, so what was this one, Wakanda Forever, right? The trailers for that. We see the Wakanda people and then we see the Atlanteans, right? But we don't know what the story is.
They're not even Atlanteans anymore. They're just some weird.
Okay, so we don't know what they are. We can guess they're water people, right? And we think there might be a fight, but we don't know why.
Are they fishermen coming to save the city?
Okay, well,
we need Ezra Miller.
Randy, I'm wondering though if that's because you're hardcore D&D and that made more sense to you than the rest of us. That's probably what that is. Yeah.
Maybe, but I think I heard it from one of you is like, well, D&D's got to be serious, and it doesn't. I run funny characters all the time, and we have a blast. I have a character that has a 5 intelligence, right? And so she believes everything people tell her. And so one of my buddies, he plays the big sister that protects her. And so she's like the daughter of a noble. She's going to inherit whatever it is, the lands and title and everything. So the other sister has to protect the stupid sister who's always like doing really goofy, silly things, burning down the bar by accident and everything, right? So for me, yeah, you can run a serious character or, why not just have fun with it? So for me, that D&D is a funny campaign, and I've played in plenty of those and had a fun time. So I'm willing to let it be a funny campaign.
Oh, I mean, my friends and I, when we was playing D&D and Traveller, it would never be straight. It would never be serious, and it would always be something, or I'd lob something in stupid that make something impossible for everyone. And everyone's got their arms folded, sulking, going, "No, we ain't. No, throw the dice down. No, we can't do that. We can't."
Boy, fucked it up again.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. So
anyway, Amber, hello. Sorry, we did see you come in, but didn't say hello. Same as you, Liz.
Welcome, everyone.
It's all right. The laser guns are being pointed.
That's all right. Go for it. Trust me, the way my day's gone, it ain't going to spoil anything.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't do any worse. Point it at his drains or his car.
Anyway.
So.
Nice head.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Was that on purpose or was that an accident?
No, that's on purpose.
Okay. He doesn't get told that a lot.
It's on purpose.
I normally have to edit more towards the end.
Sorry, Liz. Was that a sexual joke?
Yes.
All right, okay. I'm with you.
Interpret it how you want.
It's what's called a double entendre in
yes, I'm with it.
Belgium. Anyway,
moving on.
Hello.
Moving on. So briefly spoke the D&D trailer. I don't know if we'd spoken about that before, actually.
Not
We
with
did
me.
briefly.
Hot off the press, Man Quantumania.
What'd you
Did you
think?
go and see it? Did you see it?
Yeah,
I did not.
it is.
No.
It's as dumb as a chicken that doesn't know how to lay an egg. But it's weird. But I did watch it all the way through.
That's the first.
There were, particularly for the latest Dismal product, there was a film there. Now, one thing, it was not a superhero film.
Really?
No, that is a sci-fi movie.
Right.
Okay.
And obviously my expectations were, for me, they were low. With Daffy Duck t-shirt on, went in there with a load of beer and thought, right, this will help me understand the mentality the filmmakers are at. It did help.
So basically saying get twatted and you'll enjoy it.
That's
I
it.
just don't get the big revelation for me with this film today was they are aimed at children now. That's one thing I do know. They're aimed. This is the difference now. Iron Man wasn't aimed at children, but I went with my son to watch it, and we both enjoyed it. Now you've got films like Quantumania coming out, and it's for kids. A kid would sit through that and be.
Is that an excuse though?
Absolutely blown away. No, I'm not. Listen, that's not high praise, is it? Saying made a 2-hour film for kids.
No, but the fact that we've spoken about before, like the MCU and the glory days of it, you aim your franchise at everyone so everyone can enjoy it.
Yeah.
We're saying it's aimed at kids, but is it just because the writing's so shit it feels like it's aimed at kids?
Yeah, and I think it's cynical on the part of Dismal because they know, you know, they're now relying on the parents getting dragged by the child. In the early days of Marvel, or say when Lord of the Rings come out, not that I had to drag Luke to the cinema, but you know what I mean? When this genre stuff was coming out, it would be, yes, Luke, you like Star Wars, don't you? He's never heard of it. He's never seen the original trilogy. But when the sequel trilogy come out, yeah, come on, Luke, there's some good films. Dad'll come and Dad'll pay. It's a bit different now, I'll get him to pay. But anyway, we both enjoyed them. Now, it seems like I just think it's changed.
So this was the end of.
It really is a dumb film.
So this is the first of Phase 5. Does it look like it's going to be any better than Phase 4?
No, it's a mess. Just another mess film. And we've gone from the multiverse to the quantum realm now. Where
Who directed? Who directed?
Never heard of the guy.
Right.
And it was only one screenwriting credit as well, which it could have been. I know we kind of always lament what could have been, but as I was watching this and obviously had to think about it, there was a decent film there within it, but they just can't help. It seems like they can't help themselves anymore, rather than just think. And I mean, these films take long enough to come out, don't they? They take long enough to make. Why can't they spend a bit more time just pausing for thought? And just all this work, or have we just strung a load of scenes together that look cool?
What was Kang like? Because Kang's supposed to be the next big bad of it all.
He's a decent actor, overacting and there's one scene in particular, him and Michelle Pfeiffer, and he's one of these villains that he's like, he's all cool with it, you know, he's casual with the lethal force that he can, all right, I'm down, you know, I'm up for that. But Michelle Pfeiffer, with her eyes, not that she had her eyes closed in this scene, but can act her way around all these idiots all day long. Her and Michael Douglas, you could see, I only had to dial this in, aren't going to win any Oscars, but they've hung it round Michelle Pfeiffer's neck, this film.
Right.
It's almost her movie.
Is that because of the quantum realm aspect? Because her character's been in there for so many years.
Spoiler alert coming up. Hank Pym, Michael Douglas, saves the day.
Nice.
That's unusual.
Yeah. Yeah, well, he is white and he is a man. So it's very, very unusual. So it wasn't, you did have a decent payoff. The only thing for me is that the biggest complaint is that nothing is ever defined. They leave something. It's either multiverse, now it's quantum realm, which means everyone can do anything, which means nothing matters, does it? If everyone can do anything they want.
If everyone is special, then no one is.
Yeah, that's it.
Didn't the Incredibles already do that?
Yeah.
So the one thing I haven't seen the film, but the one thing I picked up from the trailer was that Michelle Pfeiffer's character seems to know that there's some sort of threat down in the quantum realm. Yeah. So is Kang in that quantum realm? Is that the threat?
I don't know how many spoilers you all want. Do you want me to say?
No, I just wanted to know that one bit. So she knows there's some sort of threat in that quantum realm. So that's the threat that Michelle Pfeiffer's afraid of.
That is the thing that she's hidden from since she come out the quantum realm. But it was down to her that he was left there.
So plot point, just straight away, just from seeing the trailer straight away, there's a threat in the quantum realm that's potentially going to destroy universe, multiverse, whatever, and you keep quiet about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So is that what you mean by how dumb this film is?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, right at the beginning, the girl, the daughter, Paul Rudd's daughter, Ant Girl, I call her. Ant Girl, this system that it can map. She like in Wakanda Forever, where all these young women are genius level already. She's genius level. All right, it runs in the genes of the family, I suppose. Never mind. But she's created this machine that can contact the quantum realm and map it out. That's all they want to do, which is a fairly, like I say, this isn't total crap. It isn't total crap. I thought that was quite a nice setup. She's created a machine with the help of her granddad, old Michael Douglas, and they want to map out the quantum realm. And I thought, that's a pretty cool idea as it goes. But as soon as they switch it on, Michelle Pfeiffer's going, no, because she knows that Kang's trapped down there.
Okay.
And the signal provides a link, a vacuum to suck him into the quantum realm. It gives him a little chink of and
is MODOK in it as well?
Oh yes, he is.
Okay. MODOK.
Yeah.
Darren from the first film, the bald bloke, Darren.
What?
Yeah. But they're all moaning about the special effects with his big fat head in it.
No, I haven't seen that. No,
I haven't seen it.
Well, a lot of people are moaning, it's bad CGI and all that. One thing I will say is I didn't find the CGI bad.
Sometimes it's better in theaters though than it is on like it looks good when you're right there and it's taking up your whole field of vision, but when you're at home it looks terrible.
And also, have they left MODOK open ready for the Animal Avengers? Or
no, he's not.
Yeah.
Oh, that's our pitch.
They couldn't even let him die, right? He totally redeems himself at the end. Ant Girl, because he's a villain in it. He's Kang's best man, he's his right hand baby head.
Yeah.
Right at the end, when he totally redeems himself by helping them defeat Kang, the thing that turned him round from being a complete villain, and MODOK, machine of death and whatever it is. So Ant Girl turns around to him and says, after she's defeated him, by the way, and he's supposed to be this machine with the guns and everything. And she just looks at him on the ground because she's obviously given herself the giant patch or whatever it is. And she goes, just stop being a dick.
That'll work.
And she walks off.
Hasn't he just saved everyone?
2 or 3 scenes later, no, MODOK, it's all kicking off. It's right at the end. It's all kicking off. And MODOK's trying to murder Aunt Gel. Oh, and he's firing the lasers and he's chasing around all the city streets. And it's kicking off. She defeats him, obviously. She on her own, no help. And as he's laying there, all crushed with his little... He goes, he's going, I just can't help it. And she's going... Literally, I'm quoting her. She says, well, just don't be a dick. And walks off. Anyway, 3 or 4 scenes later, this is how dumb the movie is. 3 or 4 scenes later, he totally redeems himself by smashing himself. Kang has got this force field. And now he's got laser powers out of his hands. I don't know why, but suddenly he has, because it makes the scene work. And he's got laser powers, but now the ants are attacking him. So he force fields up, but MODOK is the one that smashes through the force field, saying, I decided not to be a dick anymore.
So what they've done, they've set a precedent for all upcoming MCU films where you don't need to fight, you just need to call him a dick and tell him to stop, and it's done.
And he went, all right.
Save about $300 million.
Where's the bad guys always redeeming themselves? When could a bad guy just be a bad guy?
Mind, but he's only redeemed himself because one girl made one comment. I wouldn't mind if they some kind of weird love story where he fancied Aunt Gel and he thought, oh, I want to impress her. Do you know what I mean?
No, I don't. Could you explain that more?
Flappy legs. Just use your imagination. Think about what else might be flapping around in there.
Lovely. Thank you.
Tayters does a bit
anyway,
just ahead.
So anyway, yeah, it's truly dumb. It's truly dumb, but something did keep. I was thinking, right, I'm going to tap out after an hour. I know what this is going to be like, because I found Doctor Strange just impenetrably immature and imbecilic. But this, there was something in this film. I think it was Michael Douglas and Michelle Pfeiffer, to be fair, that I don't think this would have been this was a bad screenplay either, because I wasn't finding myself bored across 2 hours. It did kind of rattle along, but like I say, it's just done. Will I ever watch it again? No, I won't. Maybe with a beer with Tayters and Liz, maybe we'll have a beer and we'll laugh at it. But other than that, no, it's not going to go in the pantheon of. So if that's phase 5, well, but nothing unexpected.
Did the laughs actually? So we've commented on the Marvel humour before. With Paul Rudd being a comedian, are the laughs better, or is the humour so bad still? So
MODOK redeems himself by actually committing suicide and smashing into Kang's force field, and he's got the lasers going and he's thrown over there. Now he's in a complete mess and he's dying, and all of them gather round, and old Darren's there, and he was Darren in the first film, and he's like this, and he's got all the blood, he's got a little bit of blood on him and all that, and he's going, and they all know he's dying, and the music kicks in, and he says to Ant-Man, he goes, oh, at least I died an Avenger. Right. And of course he's not. But Paul, it's awkward. And Paul does it well. Old ruddy boy. He goes, yeah, of course, mate. Yeah, he's kind of lying to
playing
him.
Along.
As he dies. That's the last, best you can do is lie to someone as they're laying there. And then it's all sad. And then he coughs up. So they're trying to put some emotion into the scene, and then he starts coughing up all this fluid as a joke, and everyone's going, oh, like that. And I thought, hold on a minute, what, you want us to laugh at Darren dying now? Like when it's so inappropriately put there. But if it was South Park, it would have worked.
Did he actually die?
Yes, he's dead. He's got that.
Right. It wasn't one of those. It wasn't one of those sort of like airplane ones where he's going to die and then he rolls over and
like Jim Carrey in The Mask when he's getting shot. He's going,
yeah, but it's Marvel and it's multiverse now. No one's properly dead. If Kang wants a MODOK right hand head, then he'll just go to another universe.
Well, no, there's millions of variants of Kang, by the way.
Of course.
This is going to go on and on and on, by the way.
Because it's infinite. Yeah.
Yeah. The post-credits scene, I don't know if there's more than one, but I held on to one. And there's just a stadium. Why they're all gathering in a stadium, I don't know.
Why not?
Because they defeated one Kang.
It's a conference. There's a conference.
Now they've got a Kang conference, yeah.
What else could they do? Go tea, guys?
No. My son said to me today after I told him and convinced him that I'd actually done it, and he went, "No, Dad, you're taking the piss. Don't do that." I said, "No, I've watched it, Luke. I want to do a review of it on the channel and all that." And he went, "Yeah, I suppose so." He said, "Well, go on, give me a summary before I watch the video," and I'll just put dumb.
That's it. That was the summary.
Dumb.
See, whereas none of us actually have to go and see it now because you've just rattled on for the last 20 minutes.
I'm still gonna go see it.
All right.
It's a public service. Hog's doing it.
Well, I did do a video of it this afternoon.
I just want to see this. Other than that,
no,
that's the only bit I'm interested in now.
But it is it's a decent sci-fi. I've got to admit, all the design and that. So some good bits. Let's talk. Let me round it. Let me finish the Ant-Man bit with some positivity. So their performances were actually, all the performances were good. So they're all acting okay. Kang was, I know everyone's saying, "Oh my God, Kang should get an Oscar along with Wakanda Forever." I wonder why. It wasn't that good, but it was fairly decent. Pfeiffer and Michael Douglas can act rings around all them youngsters, with their eyes shut. Nevertheless, I think they are the ones I kind of went with. But that's not to say that even Ant Girl, she's a decent actress. Like, I can't find a bad performance in it. Even the Warrior Woman, even her, I was thinking that was a nice little arc that she could have had, where she's against Ant Girl at the beginning because Ant Girl knows Michelle Pfeiffer, so she's a villain. There was some nice stuff there. If you guys ever get around to watch it, it's like at the end of the video I did earlier. I kind of got to a point where I just said, I don't know if I want to put people off seeing this. Because if it was total crap, I would have said it. And I know what I've said isn't exactly endearing, but
well, I'll wait for the dismal release.
They've done worse. Oh, and that's the best I've got. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah.
Would you say that it was dumbed down even more than the first one? Like they've gone, because you said this is clearly directed at children now.
Yeah.
Would you say that it took a step down?
Oh yeah.
I wonder if that was an intentional thing, if that was behind the scenes, them saying, you know what, we need to direct this at kids more because the grown-ups aren't coming to see these anymore.
No, I think, but the grown-ups got to take them into 6. It's a 12 plus.
I just felt
about the cynical attempt at it. Disney don't care now.
I just think that
they need a grown-up to pay the grown-up ticket to take their kid. So don't worry about entertaining them. Just going to have to sit there and drink more beer while the kid does it.
The kids are going to drink more beer.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Yeah,
that happens.
One generation of Dismal Miners fans.
That happens in England, mate. But I just think that we're saying it's aimed at kids. I don't think it is. I think they're still trying to aim at everyone, but the writing's so dumb, it feels like it's being aimed at kids. I don't think they're intentionally doing it.
No, you could be right. You could be right, Liz. Yeah, you could be right. But this, one screenwriter, not 10 of them, one screenplay credited to one person, directed by one person, and then you've got 100 exec producers, and you know that's what's going on. Yeah.
And we talked about before writing for a combined audience of kids and adults. You know, that's actually that's tough. That's kind of a tough thing to do. I mean, you really need to know your craft in order to
done it so well, Randy, didn't they? Pixar back in the day,
Yeah.
they done
Absolutely.
that shtick. And so did Disney. And I'm even calling it when they were Disney.
Yes.
Pre-Dismal days. They could do the same thing, but I think Pixar picked up that baton and run with it into the modern era until they got bought out by Dismal. And it's like, oh God, now they've gone back. So anyway, that's that. We'll have a group discussion on it when maybe if you all go and see it, or when it's out on the Dismal platform. But so let's go from that to something I think is decent. So far, The Last of Us has been
brilliant.
It's been impressive.
Yeah.
Yes.
Really well done.
Has it been impressive because everything else is shit, or is
I think so.
Or is this standing? I knew that had hooked you in, Amber. I knew that had hooked you. Go on, kick it off.
Okay, so I keep on seeing again and again, people online are calling this like, this is phenomenal. It's the greatest piece of cinematic. It's just amazing. Everybody just can't. They can't even articulate how great it is.
Yeah.
And I'm again and again, episode after episode, I'm finding problems with characters, with continuity, with world building. It's not a spectacular show, but it's good. People are enjoying the performances. I think the actors are pretty decent. I don't always like the choices being made by the actors, or maybe it's the director telling them to do these things. But the fact that you can so easily find these things, and it happens on first viewing, to me, it just says that we are starved. We are starved for something good. And this is what we get. And we go, all right, it's so good. Oh, what a relief. I mean, I don't sit there all weekend long going, oh my gosh, can you believe what they did in The Last of Us? I don't. And I did that for Game of Thrones, the early seasons. I'll tell you what, there were, I don't know what it was like over in England, but here people were playing episodes of Game of Thrones in bars all over the place. People would gather huge crowds to watch the next episode.
Everyone away, didn't it? It did.
Yeah, it did. It was. It had everything that The Last of Us has as far as production value and performances, but it had really killer dialogue. Oh my gosh, the dialogue was just spectacular. I mean, anything that Peter Dinklage said in the first 5-6 seasons was amazing. And there was tension in every single moment because you really didn't know who was going to die.
Everyone that's not Joel and Ellie at the moment.
Well, we're going to ignore the last, season and a half. I think the last half of the last season was just, I think all the characters that aren't Joel and Ellie are going to die at this point. Because that's what we've seen.
Oh, yeah. Liz, you said something similar to that, didn't you?
Yes. So I said that without in-depth knowledge of the games, I know of the games, I know some of the things that happens, and I know some of the things from Last of Us 2. But so far, we've had the setup episode, basically the Tessa episode, then the Bill and Frank episode, then we've had a little bit of development of Joel and Ellie, and then we basically had Henry and Sam. But anything that's not Joel and Ellie, everyone's died. And don't get me wrong, I enjoyed the Henry and Sam episode.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed that dynamic, and that ending to that episode was hard hitting.
Uh-huh.
But by going on that sort of bit, you can sort of predict the tempo and the pacing for the rest of the season. Next episode, we're probably going to have Joel and Ellie again. And then the episode after that, we're going to meet another two characters or another character that's just going to get killed off in that episode. Then we're going to have another episode where we're going to, almost like a Bill and Frank, where we're going to sort of follow someone that's almost like a little footnote in the game, but we're going to expand their story. Then we're going to kill off some more characters that you see. Then we're going to have a Joel and Ellie episode again. It's becoming predictable.
It's right. And it's not that it's predictable so much that it's predictable, and you have this problem with it being not consistent, not believable, not, the little errors build up after a while. I mean, my family watches it together most of the time, and that's a big problem that we have, is we're watching it going, why the hell is
when little kids get shot? Yeah,
no, we did. Well, we were cheering for good writing. That's what we were cheering for. We
Yeah.
weren't cheering for anything that happened in the story. We were cheering for this story did something that was good.
And don't get me wrong, I am enjoying it. I've just got that concern and that worry that it is going to get a bit predictable if we go on the same path that we're going on at the moment.
Yeah.
It'd actually be more surprising if a character survived at this point.
Yeah, I have to agree with that.
You think they've played that? You think they've played that card too often now?
Yeah.
I mean, it's been 5 episodes, but we've only really had 2 episodes of Joel and Ellie. Other than that, the focus of the episode, we had the Tess one, you had the Bill and Frank one, and you had the Henry and Sam one. So the only actual focus of those episodes, even though it's on their journey, it's people they're meeting along the way, and it's adding characters to that world, which I do get it.
Mm-hmm.
But let's just focus on Joel and Ellie now for a good couple of episodes.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what it was in the game. I don't know. I don't know if that's what it was in the game. I don't know if all this happens early on, then in the game it goes into that. They seem to be pretty loyal to that from my understanding of what the game is. And in the game you do almost
Randy
get
and I
levels.
talked about Tales from the Apocalypse. What was that? In the game you get levels? Yeah.
Yeah, so in the game you get levels and you get little story arcs within the game. So almost like the next mission. And the next mission, you have these characters come in. It's almost like, if this is going to be loyal to the game, are we going to be getting all these characters coming in, taking the focus off what is the heart of the show, and that's Joel and Ellie?
Yeah. And Randy and I talked about if there was a different show called Tales of the Apocalypse, this sort of thing would work. But this has been from the beginning set up as a Joel and Ellie story. And like you said, very little has happened with Joel and Ellie. So I really want more of the two of them. I need to see them doing, I think that the Sam and Henry episode was good because Joel and Ellie were both so active in their story.
Yes,
and
I agree
so
with that.
that's why it worked.
The reason why they were there. I know what Liz is saying, but don't you think that's why these characters are thrown in to progress our main 2 characters? So Henry and his brother, like you kind of saw Ellie act like a child instead of acting as a sassy adult that she's got to be, because there's no childhood in this world. And
that's what I'm saying by the I am enjoying it. I am enjoying it, and there's a reason for, like, Henry and Sam, like you just said. You see the child in Ellie come out, and you see it's more world building around it. But we get to the point where you've done your world building, you've used other characters to help grow your main plot thread. Now let's just focus on them 2 and where they've got to go and what they've got to do and what that mission is.
Randy, looks like Randy is in contemplation, ready to disagree.
Go.
Ready to disagree with everything you've all just.
No, the point, you make a good point. So the reason that the sad ending with Sam and Henry works, it only works if we don't do it often. And preferably, it only works in this series, at least in season 1, if we only do it once, where it ends tragically. And you're right, we've had 2. Now, Tess has had to die at the end of an episode, and that's sad, and it's poignant. And so, yeah.
Joel,
and then
Joel's daughter as well. Joel's daughter, then Tess. Then Bill.
Right. I mean, so we're seeing it.
Sam.
And then, right, and Sam and Henry, they really hit the pinnacle because they both die. And the brother, so Henry has to kill Sam. So that's even, so we've ratcheted up, in my mind, to the highest level that it can of how sad can this be? That's the saddest situation we can think of. You have to kill the person you're going to protect and then kill yourself. All right, we're there. I don't see that there's room to top that, and so they shouldn't try. And Liz is right. They need to move on. They need to not be doing every other episode. They end with the poignant death of a character. That's just going to get old after a while. We're just going to be like, so it's the death of the week, right? So and that will get old. That's not fresh writing. You got to change things up.
Or like
And
any
they're
face that turns up, it's going to be all cannon fodder. They're going to die.
right. So yeah, we need to see something. We need to have a couple episodes where they run into someone and they don't have to continue to travel with Joel and Ellie, but maybe Joel and Ellie help them get to where they're going and they can be left there and Joel and Ellie can move on for whatever reason. Maybe they have a disagreement, or maybe, hey, here's a radical idea. Maybe it's a happy story, right? Maybe they get them where they need to be. They reunite a couple people who've been separated for 20 years because of the plague, right? And it's happy and they move on. That would be great. It would break up the monotony of the same pattern.
Yeah.
Also, you'd want something that would actually bring them two together. So Joel's like the man that does is the hard-nosed man, the man that does what needs to be done. You'd almost want something that would either question Ellie's morals or question Joel's morals, but they have to trust the other person, and in doing so, it opens them up to that character development.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, cool.
I mean, so that's
really
my
enjoyed
input
it.
on it.
So I think we're kind of all agreeing that people are going over the top with their praise, really. Like, we're all enjoying it.
Yeah.
But wow, it's not off the scale here, is it?
No.
I mean, compared to what else has been, then yeah.
And it is only a series
compared
as
to
well,
what has
so-
been,
What's that? Sorry, Tayters.
I said compared to what has been, as Amber touched on, it's just like, yeah, it is brilliant in comparison to the piles of shit we've been watching. So yeah.
Yeah. I must
I mean,
admit, I do relax when that comes on.
Hmm.
When I press play, I've got to admit, I do relax. And I know that I'm not going to be scribbling down like a whole entire A4 pad's worth of
And I've
jokes and quips.
Last
I've
week,
personally kept away from the game now. I've purposely kept away from the game. I don't want to know what happens next. I know where it goes in the second game, but I don't want to know what happens in this first stage because I want to be surprised. And it's on the verge of I'm no longer surprised anymore.
so last week we discussed our favorite series, right? So this would not rank in my top 10. I mean, I enjoy it. I agree with you guys.
Yeah.
But it would not rank in my top 10.
No.
It probably wouldn't even rank in my top 20. So, I mean, that just goes to what you're all talking about, and we can kind of quantify it more, right? It just would not rank up there. I'm sure I have 20 other shows that I think are better examples of science fiction, horror, whatever you want to consider it, than this. I mean, yes, the writing is good, and I enjoy the acting, and I do. I'm immersed in the story while I'm watching it, but I don't walk away the whole week saying, yes, I am so wowed by it. That's all I can think about.
I don't think it's something that I'd necessarily go back to either. I've watched it, I've enjoyed it. I wouldn't necessarily go, I need to watch that again.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to binge this when it finishes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna watch 2 or 3 episodes, you know, all in one, and yeah, I think I will. I think there's a lot in it. I just love the fungus element of it. That bit,
you love fungus, don't you?
But they're not. What's that?
You love a bit of fungus, don't you?
I do.
I was actually disappointed in the bloater.
What's that?
What did you guys think of the bloater, the giant one?
Yeah,
I didn't even know
hog?
No, I had no clue about the game. So yeah, it was just this giant mushroom thing.
I thought it was going to tie into the nature of fungus in some way, or some plant-like element to it, and I thought this is not good sci-fi because I'm not seeing that tie-in. I'm seeing, okay, what if now we just have a giant fungus that's super strong and it just goes around ripping people apart limb by limb? And I'm like, how is that tying into the way fungus behaves? You know, we get the clickers and we get the runners. Those make sense. We also get the network thing.
Yeah,
that all makes sense.
See, I think
but how
underused so far, that bit that it's interconnected underneath. I mean, that's the bit I love.
So I agree with you. So,
and we haven't seen that used much.
Like yourself, I obviously read a lot of Paul Stamets and listen to what Paul Stamets has to say as he's a top mycologist. That element, the mycology side of it, and the the cordyceps itself as the species of mushroom. That I really enjoy.
Yeah, but
did the bloater not was it not in your daughter Randy that said that the bloater spat the spores out or something in the game?
Yeah.
Now that is,
see, where are the spores? Where are the spores in this?
Yeah, exactly. Then they're kind of not. They're not going there.
there aren't any. I think somebody said that they're not even going to be in it.
No.
What this reminds me of are some board games I've played. I mean, so I have a little pocket board game that came out, I don't know, like 30 years ago, and you produce these creatures, and then you produce them whether they're like scout-like creatures or they're tanks. And for me, this latest incarnation, it's the tank. Yeah. So we're really filling in the board gaming part of this, which really doesn't belong in this story. Yeah. Right. Instead of looking at it as we have all these different kinds of spore creatures, we've got the tank, we've got the artillery, we've got whatever it might be. And that doesn't feel genuine to the story. I think it would be much better going with what all of you were talking about, the science behind the fungus kind of thing.
Like in one of the early episodes where they're looking down at the street and you can see the street was cloud, the sunlight was dappled by clouds.
Yeah.
And they was all this kind of
crawling.
And they was rolling away from the weren't they? Yeah. Away from the light. And it was all obviously CGI, but it looked really cool. In fact, I was looking at them and you could see the sun dappled street or the cloud dappled street, and they was rolling away from the sunlight. And I thought, oh, this is going to be really good. And the bit that they'd alluded to where they can communicate, the fungus can communicate across, like Tayters just said, like with the books that Paul Stamets writes, and he says that trees communicate through the mycelium from one end of a forest to another. And that mycelium, it feeds trees that aren't getting enough nutrition. They help each other out. Nature helps each other out through this network. But we still end up, and I'm not slating it. I'm just saying they could have really got something going.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if we've got 4 episodes left, right?
Yeah.
So they better start incorporating some of these world building elements that they've introduced because they haven't done anything with them. And it's very frustrating to get excited about something and not see it pay off.
Yeah.
They haven't done the fear of light, I think, is what you're referencing, Roy, when you talk. I mean, Hog, when you're talking about that. Sorry. Sorry. But the network thing we've only seen once in the same episode it was introduced, right? Or was it was the same episode it was introduced?
Yeah, it was only one.
It's disappointing because these are really neat things and they could create a lot of tension, but they're not creating any tension now. So
beginning, but it's it's getting fighty. Like that was a good scene at the end of the last episode. It was really well done, everything, and it did build up to a crescendo.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, it was still just a fight.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it might have been a bit more like one of the earlier episodes where it was all dried out in the sun, the fungus outside when they're trying to get out initially. And Pedro,
the museum,
checking it, and he was checking it outside. He was kicking it, and he was saying, "No, that's dead. It's dried out."
Right, yeah.
And you're thinking, "Oh my god!" But inside it might not be. And then they found that what's it on the wall, didn't they? And they're giving us it all, but we're ending up with fighty, chasey, fighty.
Yeah. And it's very difficult to write in a world that has a rule that you have introduced that's not in this real world. And I'm finding that they've created a really cool world, but they're not playing out the story in that world.
Right, yeah.
A lot of missed opportunities there.
Yeah. And that's what people enjoy about science fiction. I mean, I've been watching Star Trek: The Next Generation again. And every once in a while, I'm stopping and going like, oh, I'm so glad that they stuck this in here, that they made sure that they stuck with this rule that they set up. And they're not doing that here. It's hard. It's hard to write that way. It's a challenge. And I'm just hoping that, I'm hoping that they're going to do something in these next 4 episodes. They better, because if they don't, it'll be a big disappointment.
You want to watch a film set in a quantum realm then. If you thought the multiverse
I think that's why I've lost all interest in the Marvel movies. Is I feel like, oh, the world is at stake again. Oh, the universe is at stake. Oh, and existence is at stake.
In this film, in Ant-Man this week, it's not even our world. It's just, which maybe was a better hook. Now you've provoked me to talk about this, because it was the quantum realm at stake, which we don't really care about, but they was all helping each other survive and make it through and get back home. So it wasn't the universe at stake. All right, Kang was there to say, right, I'm going to destroy everywhere. I'm going to just destroy everywhere, man. But essentially, it was more about that family of 5. Maybe, like I keep saying, and I suppose it'll only be over time where I kind of developed a bit more thought about such a dumb film, but it still takes me a long while to even work out a dumb film.
So it's like Lost
the contradiction
in Space.
there. But the contradiction
it's like Lost
there,
in
though,
Space,
Hog,
little family, but not lost in space, lost in and out.
But the contradiction there, Hog, at the moment is, so Kang's in the quantum realm.
Yeah, he's been banished by the other Kangs.
But we all know that if he gets out, the entire multiverse is in danger.
And the quantum realm and everywhere.
And the quantum realm and everywhere. So that Ant-Man, by the sounds of it, okay, it's set in the quantum realm, but we automatically know there's bigger stakes if he gets out, because everything, as Amber said, the world's going to end, existence is going to end. He wants to destroy the multiverse.
The good thing they do, though, is they weave it in with him having to save his daughter. He gives Kang what he needs. Kang manipulates Paul Rudd into Ant-Man. Sorry, he manipulates Ant-Man into getting him into slapping one of his HRT tabs onto.
So does he get out? So does he get out of the quantum realm?
Quantum realm, but he's only doing that because he's got his daughter.
But does he get out at the end?
Who?
Kang.
Well, he doesn't have any hot flushes anymore.
See, when you describe this movie, I'm listening to an episode of Rick and Morty. It's like,
oh yeah, it's, you know what? It could be really could be that. Like I say,
yeah,
us 3, you know, we've had a little beer night and we've watched silly films. This one you could watch and literally laugh all the way through.
Yeah,
you know, with a beer, and it's a bit of a lonely little thing, you know. I'm trying to pick the sweet corn out of the poo again.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm looking for it because I don't want to leave halfway through, and I don't just want to be the next YouTuber that just goes, I mean, Michael Douglas actually says the word socialist or socialism in this film, and it was like alert. I'm like, all the alarms were going off. I could hear Jack Boots coming up the corridor outside the cinema. But it didn't really mean a lot. It was a throwaway comment. And I know there are certain reviewers that have jumped on that.
Oh, there will be, though. Yeah, of course.
He was making a throwaway comment about the Ant Society, which again was dumb because I don't really want to talk about Ant-Man too much. But how can I make it a quick? He basically,
you can't. Too late.
The ants save the day, but he kind of presses. He's got a little thing in his ear where he communicates with the ants. And at the beginning, when they fall in the quantum realm, he's going like that. He's got a bit of interference with his hearing aid, and then you don't allude to it anymore. Hour and a half, 2 hours later, he goes, yeah, you know, when I was like, I had a bit of interference in my hearing aid. And he goes, yeah, that was my ants communicating, because the ants fell in with them as well into the quantum realm at the beginning of the film. And because where they fell, time worked differently. And this is what I mean about they can just do anything. So where the ants fell, they've created a society over 1,000 years.
Right.
And they have launched a signal out to find Hank Pym, like to find Michael Douglas, when 1,000 years later, when he falls into his area.
So hang on, right? Sorry. So 1,000 years later, the ants have then tried to reach out and contact Michael Douglas again. Now, I don't know the lifespan of an ant, but surely Michael Douglas in the ant mythology would have been like some sort of myth
Yes,
that none of them
they
believe is
passed it
true
on.
by that point.
So hang on. Sorry. We're back to Red Dwarf with the cat and the cat species.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's
Right,
hilarious.
Right. So generation to generation, ant to ant, they've passed. We've got to get hold of Michael Douglas down over 1,000 years instead of just going. We've got our own society now. Let's build it up. Let's create a statue. Let's do this. Let's do that. They've stuck. They're very loyal, aren't they? Over 1,000 years.
Well, ants might be. We don't know.
And I know that's kind of storytelling 101 as well.
I said to myself, I wasn't going to drink whiskey tonight.
Are you antist?
You're going to use it at the end, but it does that with his ear and goes. He doesn't even say, "I wonder where all my ants have gone." He just presses, and they have to show you the flashback of when he presses his ear 2 hours ago at the beginning. To remind the audience, this is what I mean about that one word.
I said to myself, I wasn't going to get on the whiskey tonight.
Dumb.
Yeah.
So, Amber, you mentioned you've been rewatching Next Generation, and I put on the old message group about Picard Series 3. I heard, as Bananarama once sung, I heard a rumour that this was going to be good. Who's watched this first episode of Series 3?
I've watched the first half an hour of it earlier on.
I started this morning.
I think it's got to be Amber leading this one off, to be fair, after TNG presentation in the hogCAST special. So go on.
For me, it's really tough to make a decision based on just a first episode, but I was kind of getting it.
Was you excited? Huh? Was you excited?
No. For the most part, I was really impressed that Gates McFadden looks so good. I think she's had some work done, but done really well. So she's the one who plays the doctor.
Yeah, I was thinking that about Riker. I thought, oh, he's a sexy little so-and-so in his old age, the old silver fox. I was thinking,
Yeah. So can you guys hear me? I thought it first.
Yes.
So have you guys seen the movie Insurrection? It was the one where they're on the planet that regenerates you and makes you young again, that kind of thing.
Yes.
I was getting vibes from the beginnings of that story, but less comedy. And for some reason, I feel like you need to put more comedy in this series with Picard, because they're old, and that's got to be funny that they're too old to be going on a lot of these adventures together. And they did that a little bit, but they could be doing a bit more. And
I like the bit at the beginning where Riker says, "Oh, there's going to be some crusty old sod talking about to bolt at the beginning." I did laugh at that.
Did you watch?
And he went, "Yeah, that's me."
Did you watch season 1 and 2?
No. I watched a few episodes of 1 and a few episodes of 2. And I heard a rumor about what they do with Q. So I hated what they did with Q in Deep Space Nine and Voyager. I just thought it was so stupid. So I of course had to check out what they do with with him and Picard. And the very first episode, I went, "What the hell is going on? Why is he doing this?" So I was immediately turned off to Q. And it was season 2 of Picard. And I heard what they do with him, and I don't care to watch that because I think it's trash. Go ahead.
Sorry, because I haven't watched any of the other Picards, and the last time I watched Next Generation was when I was a kid. Jumping straight on this episode this evening, it felt like it was the first episode of a series. It didn't feel like I don't feel like I've missed anything from season 1 and 2 of Picard. Yeah. And they're saying it's Picard the final season. Well, it seems like it's a limited series Picard special. It doesn't feel like it's had a season 1 and 2 before it.
I think that somebody said that it was intentionally done this way because I think they know that they blew it with 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And that this was meant to be like, okay, if you haven't seen 1 and 2, you're still going to be able to follow along with what's happening in 3. And I have a little bit of an idea of who some of the characters are that were not in the original, the other series, the Voyager and Next Generation. But Yeah, I think it was probably smart because they'll draw in people who hated the first 2 seasons or who heard it was trash and said, I'm never going to watch it. So they're going to come and watch this one and check it out. And I just don't think that it's going to impress them a whole lot. So far, the only thing I'm excited about is seeing the old crew members. So
yeah,
to me, and it seems like it's the last hurrah. I just want them all to die in the last episode, having to sacrifice themselves and a Class D.
You want them to die?
Yeah, I want them all, because come on, they're nearly. I want them all to sacrifice and pay them a price to sacrifice themselves to save a planet or whatever it is, or save one disabled alien. I don't know, whatever they got to do. Just
well, Picard's died twice already, so I think he's had his turn.
Yeah, he's on his third.
He's on his third death now.
He's on his the third one's a charm, isn't it? But,
yeah, exactly.
I was quite
underwhelmed.
I liked it.
Why? I'm not sure if I can be bothered unless I hear that, like, they're all on a mission to it's going to end in the Death Star blowing up at the end. I think I would like to see that progression, but
I'd love to see that in Star Trek. I'd love to see the Death Star blowing up in a Star Trek episode.
They're all in the quantum realm or the multiverse now. The multi-realm, the quantum multi-realm.
It's all connected. It's all connected.
Yeah.
I had mixed feelings towards it. I thought I was underwhelmed, but I was impressed at the same time because it felt more like Star Trek than anything else has felt like Star Trek in a way, but I still wasn't overly impressed, and I was sort of just watching it because I knew we'd be having a conversation about it.
See, I'm intrigued. It really intrigues me from the trailer onwards. I didn't.
Oh, God.
Sorry, Amber. No. Go. You go.
Oh no, I was just going to say something that really bugged me, and I think this is why I was a little bit turned off to the first 2 Picards seasons, was that something that both the original series did and Next Generation did is that they would focus a lot on these interesting science fiction ideas, and that would be the center around which the plot takes place. But now you've got can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, now you've got just a straight up adventure story. Yeah. I'm not feeling this. We're looking at something really interesting and unique that can only happen in a sci-fi world and exploring that idea. And I miss that. I think a lot of people don't enjoy it for that reason. And that's why people like the Orville.
Where they was just where it was, what's her name, with her gun, and it was like a laser shotgun that for some reason it was a fun action silly thing. And I thought, I haven't seen this a gazillion times.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like Star Trek.
Isn't it mad that the Orville
this up, just seeing those 3 ships maybe like predate on her ship, and without all the pew 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 that we've seen 1,000 gazillion times before, and that wasn't even really Star Trek, was it? Really, Star Trek avoided all that.
Yeah,
so, and it would have added another little layer of mystery, like why are they wanting to invade our what's her name's ship? And she sends the message out to the old communicator. I liked all that. I like that shit. Apart from the classic, we've got a corridor, we've got a disused corridor on the lot, lads, with some crates in, and we've got some masks from a horror film they've just done next door. And let them go snick with a little alien voice and give them some.
Yeah.
That whole start could have been done better. I mean, I haven't seen the whole episode yet.
Generic is the word.
You know the bit that really wound me up? Beverly Crusher gets shot with a laser and somehow she's bleeding. It was like, what? It's a laser.
Oh, yeah,
it's a laser.
Nice catch.
As silly as that sounds, it's just like, it's anyway.
Isn't it mad though that the Orville feels more like Star Trek than Star Trek?
Yeah, and it's because they do that exact thing that Hog is touching at, that my family felt from the beginning of this, is that it's not exploring a science fiction idea. It's just an adventure. And the Orville does explore ideas.
Yeah.
It's the whole story of each episode. Well, most of them centers around some interesting science fiction event or scenario.
Yeah, an idea that, just from that one idea, you've got the standard story, got a sci-fi idea, and then just do that. That's all.
And I know that what's his name? Matthias.
Sorry, Van.
What's the name of the guy who wrote this Masalis or something? I can't remember what his name is.
Is it the showrunner or is he the writer?
Yeah,
or Terry Matthews, isn't it?
That guy, yes.
Yeah.
So I guess that he was a writer on Discovery, and
he goes way back, doesn't he?
Yeah, he goes back to, I think, Deep Space Nine even. But I don't know what was his role earlier, because if he was involved in the writing before, he would know that this is something that Star Trek is, something that it does, and that it's one of the main reasons why there's a separation between Star Wars fans and Star Trek fans. Like they're two different groups. I mean, there's some that like them both, but they're distinctive. And it's because we enjoy, in Star Trek, we enjoy getting into those interesting explorations of things that aren't happening on the page, things that aren't happening on the screen, things that are existential in nature or philosophical, and they're not doing that. So they're just, like you say, just turning it into space opera, which what Star Wars was when that come along. It was something different. It was space opera or space fantasy, and like you say, the two different sides of fandom. I think you can still enjoy both, to be fair. Oh yeah, you can.
I enjoy that. You enjoy one, switch off brain and enjoy it for entertainment with Star Wars. And I don't mean in the early days it was crap, because I've loved it from day one. But with Star Trek, a bit more cerebral and sometimes philosophical. And you asked questions. You questioned what might be happening in the world around you based on what you've just seen in an episode of Star Trek. Would I have treated them like that, or would I have rescued that alien, or whatever it is, or would I have stood up to save this race or that tree, and
See, now I've got a feeling this whole series is just going to be picking up on past stories. I really do, and I don't know why I got that. I think the main reason Picard picks up his little Russican flute at some point.
Yeah,
that's it.
And that storyline that we did in TNG, that was one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I really love that. And
what does he do with that then?
He plays it. It's a flute.
Did you not? Do you not know what happened there?
From it?
Yeah, I thought we might have blown bubbles out of it somehow.
Well, he might do. We don't know yet.
So, Randy,
no, I think you're right, Taters.
Yeah, it's just going to be touching on old episodes and hopefully not rehashing stories, maybe closing some a little bit better. I don't know. We'll see. I'm intrigued. I am intrigued by it, and I am going to watch it. I am going to go through it. I'm going to do the whole season. Season 1 and 2 were very forgettable.
Soldier on a little while, but it's pure nostalgia bait. I think that's all it is.
Yeah.
This series.
I think
Kurtzman, Jar Jar Abrams and all his gang, they're all getting called out, aren't they? They're all getting called out by Warner Brothers and Paramount and all that, because they got given $250 million a few years ago, and they have done a lot of partying and not a lot of creating. And that is, and I'm not even joking, they're being called out on it. What have you done? We give old Jar Jar, they gave his production company a hell of a lot of money, and he's done nothing. And Kurtzman, and with this Trek and Matt, I think they're like rats scurrying away from the sinking ship. And it's almost like, that Terry Matsoulis is left there going, lads. And it's like, well, if no one else is around, do you know what I would like to see?
Yeah.
I'd like to see a full stop with Picard and all the old gang.
Yeah.
What I'd like to see is bring them all back and give them a glorious death.
Yeah.
Come on. We don't want to see them, or maybe, no, do you know what? I'm sticking with my gut thing, is I want to see them pay the ultimate, or make the ultimate sacrifice, which would be that endearing Star Trek.
No, you'll get Picard. You'll get Picard. Absolutely. I can see that.
I said, it's just the way I walk.
Yeah. But no, I think out of the glorious death that you're talking about, I can absolutely see you getting Picard do that.
The whole lot. Just
Save his crew. No, to save his crew. Save his old crew.
A supernova to save the planet. I don't know what they're going to have to do. And it just all blurs out. And that's it. Finish now. Next time I see Star Trek, I want to see all new faces, like they did with Next Generation. All new faces.
Yeah.
All fresh.
I'll tell you what, though, if they don't take this to a next level in writing, like including that subtext elements or the not just a straight up adventure or mystery story, if they don't do that, the Star Trek fans are going to still be displeased with it. They're going to look back and say it was all just nostalgia bait. It was nothing different in the right, because we know in the writing is not getting to that level that we want. People complained about it with the Star Trek reboot movies. Yeah. So when they did the original series reboots with Chris Pines and all that, they said this is missing that. And it was fun adventure, but it was not Star Trek. It was not what we expect.
Definitely.
So Randy.
Yes.
You also watched it.
I did. I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was good.
More episodes?
I'm sorry?
You're looking forward to more episodes? Like, this is hooked enough?
I am. So I'm going to cover, I'll touch on a couple of things. So for one...
just quickly, Randy, just quickly, sorry, mate. Do you reckon you two guys will review it? You do a weekly review on this? I'm
sorry, what? I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Is the Right Advice team going to be doing a review?
Yeah.
I don't know. You'd have to ask
to review it. If you want to review it, Randy, I'm down for it.
I think,
okay, but you know what? I got a couple points to make on this. So a lot of what I'm hearing, and I get this, right? So I'm not as huge a Next Generation fan as most of you are. Okay, I enjoyed it. I watched it when it was out as sci-fi, right? But I'm not a huge fan. So for me, I am not disappointed that this is not very Star Trek-ish. Okay, so I approached it and I'm looking at it as a story, and I got to tell you that as a story, it works. It works pretty well. Most of the scenes are very well. So I think a lot of your backlash on it is because it's not Star Trek. It's a mystery, right? It's a kind of an espionage mystery. If this was Mission Impossible, I think you would probably be less critical of this, right? If this was Mission Impossible, the series in the future, we're right on track. We have lots of mystery elements there, and it flows very well. The music is very appropriate for a mystery, right? It is. I mean, at one point I took notes and like, oh, that music is great if I'm watching a mystery, and we are, okay? So that's one element. And my problem with the show is with Patrick Stewart, and he's a fantastic actor, right? But he is obviously showing his age, and it is not believable that he would be leading an adventure like this. Okay, that just is not. It's almost like they're escorting Granny along or Grandpa along the adventure, right? I mean, that's what I feel when I see it, and it shows.
It's like us taking Hog out for the day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
You know what that's like. And I will myself tonight. I always want to will myself.
He wanders off every now and then. It's a nightmare.
And that's what it feels like. It feels like at any moment he might get up and just toddle on. Huh?
Yeah. No, but
and so for me, that distracts from it, right? I mean, otherwise, I felt Riker's character, Jonathan Frakes, he did a great job. He's very charismatic. I think everyone did a great job. And it has a very clear storyline, and it's developed well, and the acting is good, and they move from scene to scene, and there's lots of tension, and they are pulling out all the tricks to build tension in a mystery story. So that's what I'm going to say. I would give it high marks. If I was rated, I'd rate it a 9. If I'm a radical fanatic Star Trek fan, yeah, I'm not going to rate it a 9 because it doesn't feel like Star Trek as much. It's kind of like mystery with some Star Trek elements in it. Yeah. But if you're just looking for entertainment, it was very entertaining.
Yeah, I think I'm the same as you, Randy. I weren't the biggest Next Generation fan, but I found myself, the notes that they were riffing from was resonating enough for me. You know, it's just getting the old gang back together. But I was liking the way they were doing it, apart from the pew pew at the beginning.
Right.
You know, the signal, the subspace signal with the old communicator, and he's packing up to go. And by the way, his new Romulan bird's only half his age. Like, he's doing all right. He's doing all right. He's shacking up with the old Romulan, going back to, what's his, whatever Sigma 9, whatever planet they're going to. He's packing up all his old gear. But I love the way that the what's it's going off, the old communicator.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, that's great.
Yeah, and he's asking the computer, and straight away the computer goes, "Oh," and he goes, "Oh, you're not a lot of help." But so there were some really nice bits in that, and probably because I am old as well. But I love the way they've set up the story to get the old gang back, like you say, the mystery, get the old gang back together. But I think I completely agree with you when you're saying, and I think Amber is agreeing, because obviously, Amber, you are a big Trek fan, that you're not going to be as happy as us lot on the peripheral are going to be. Because I think they're doing enough to satisfy us, whereas the Star Trek nerds are going to go,
Yeah, no, I'm going to agree with everything that Randy just said about it, that it's great tension. It's a great way. It is a believable reason for the old crew to get together. You know, don't trust anyone in Starfleet. So who would you trust? Your, most trusted crew. But when you go into something like this, being a fan of the old series, you're expecting that there's going to be a higher level of ideas explored. And it's sort of like, okay, I went there for fine dining, and I ended up getting fast food again. So
okay, but you know what? I don't think that this is fast food. I think this is fine dining.
It is a little better, but it's not challenging, or it's not at that higher level of entertainment where it's making you question things. And that is one of the main elements that separates.
She wants more seasoning used in the menu.
Okay, you know what? It's not fast food versus fine dining. It's Mexican food versus Italian food. That's all it is. It's a different flavor. This writing is very sharp. All right. I mean, that's what I look for is writing. The writing's sharp. It is a good story. It is moving forward well. I mean, I find no problems with that. The fact that you want more Star Trek, okay, that's the flavor, right? That's the style. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's
sort of like with Willow, though. It would be a similar comparison to Willow, though, because, all right, let's assume that the new Disney Plus series Willow was good as far as storytelling is concerned, but it has nothing to do with the original movie, right? Let's say we actually had all these weird, like maybe it was parallel worlds are colliding, and that's why we see all these bizarre aesthetic things happening. And if that was what we got, and it was all well acted and well written, and the story was put together, to me that would be the exact same thing as what this Picard is that it is not the same type of story, and that is a problem, because it's sort of like doing, like, let's say that we decided yes, I'm just saying that it's for that reason it actually is a step down, because it's like taking what do you call it? It would be like if you were to say, okay, we're going to split up Hamlet into 3 parts, okay, but Act 3, instead of it being in Shakespearean language, we're going to do it in contemporary paraphrasing. And it's may still be a good story, and it's all been paraphrased, but you've taken something out of it. And that's what I see happening with Picard. It's actually what I saw happening with most of the movies from the Next Generation as well. And it's a shame, because it does not appeal to people who expect better. You can have a great adventure, you can have a great story, high tension, but you have removed something very challenging to the writers, and that is to make your audience think. And it's not doing that. At least just one episode so far. I have not seen any evidence that it's going to make us do that. I thought it was going to do that with what do you call it? Season 2 when they had Q in there. That's why I watched it, because I thought, okay, maybe they're going to make us think a little bit more. I think 3 episodes in, and I said, I don't think that they're going to do that. This is just an adventure to them. So I would like to see that they take it to that next level so that it is at the same level as the series, maybe even better, because you could do better. I mean, we got to admit, you look at The Next Generation and there's some crap episodes. There's some crap acting. There's some crap special effects. There's some jokes that kind of fall flat. You could really level it up. Now let's take this nice writing and let's make it challenging for the audience. Make it something that they watch and they go, damn, I came back from that and I feel like I have learned something. I feel like I've been asked to think about something, but instead it's not. It's just entertainment.
I was just glad there wasn't enough. I was just glad there wasn't enough lizard representation, to be honest with you. They not know we run the galaxy. What's going on?
You didn't see any vegetables either.
It must just be like real life to you, Liz.
Yeah, I know.
Stuff, you know, you've seen it, been there, done that.
Been there, done that. Got the t-shirt.
But I mean, I don't know. I hold out hope. You know me, I'm ever hopeful.
Yeah.
And hopefully it's not just the nostalgia of the old episodes and revisiting. Hopefully I do move forward with it. But, you know, by the time we record again, I'll have watched all of them. So we'll know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think I will persevere with it. I'll tell you one thing, though. One thing I could not persevere with, and I know Andy and Amber have done a video on it as well, is Velma.
Velma, oh my God.
There was none of that.
No, there wasn't.
Wait, before we move on to Velma, I had an observation about Picard. So that it opens up with music. That music is from Fallout.
Yeah, you said, yeah.
Right. And I don't know where Fallout got it. I don't know if Fallout had people create it specifically for them, or they pull a song that was already out there. But that opening music is from Fallout. And then when Beverly vaporizes those people, they're all ash piles. That looks exactly like what happens if you get a critical hit in Fallout with an energy weapon. So I don't know if there's anything on purpose for that. But
that's actually a song. It's a song I think called like the Ink Blots or something like that. From the late 50s, 60s, I think.
That I don't know. No.
Yeah, it's old pop culture, but I mean, it's been in a few movies. But I wouldn't be surprised if they put it in Fallout.
Velma.
So, what could they put into Velma? Sort that out, apart from a grenade.
That was so bad. Did anybody watch more than one episode?
I couldn't do any more.
Writing and the lofty heights of writing ability. And
so let's just talk about the writing quickly, man.
Who wants
to I feel like I've got a lot to say on this, because this show wound me right up. It wound me right up. This show.
Shit.
Yeah, it made me lose my alien shit, mate. Let's just take it back a bit. So you're at HBO Max, and we're all in charge of content creation. So we're all around the round table. What IPs have we got? What can we do, etc., etc. Oh, we need to do something Scooby-Doo related. Okay, let's do something Scooby-Doo related. And you hire 3 or 4 different people, and you hire Mindy Kaling, and you go, give me something Scooby-Doo related. And she comes in with Velma. So we're going to do something Scooby-Doo related without Scooby-Doo, and we're just going to have it based on Velma. Okay, we can do a Velma origin story. Then she produces that script. Any sane person, or any person with any sort of modicum of competence or intelligence, or just any craft of what actual fucking story is, would go, what the fuck are you doing? And laugh her out of the room with that script. I don't get it. I don't get it.
If you weren't laughing, just ask her, who's the audience for this?
Yeah.
It just doesn't.
If it isn't that, if it isn't mocking it, and everyone's going, "Oh, this is really funny."
This is worse than She-Hulk.
7-year-old would like it, or I think my nan would like it, or I think my nerdy cousin would. Who did they think was ever going to be the audience for this?
This is the new low bar. This is the new low bar. It's worse than She-Hulk. It's worse than anything else we've ever spoken about. It is terrible. I couldn't do any more than one episode. I felt myself. I thought I was going to press a button and just.
No, I'm with you. I did one episode.
Just end it all. Just end it all.
It hurt. It was like there's a difference between cringing, like you do for a She-Hulk or Willow, and then I don't know. Next level cringe. I don't know what that is with Velma. It was like, it's like you're almost trying to fold in on yourself. You're cringing so much. You can't carry on.
It was not.
It got picked up for season 2.
Yeah, I know.
What? Whoa.
I posted that the other day. They've confirmed season 2. Yeah, it's going ahead.
Yeah, but I've spoken to a few people about this. I've seen stuff online, and I've spoken to a few people like this. I don't know a single person that's had anything good to say about this show. Anything at all.
It's toxic fans, though. That's what it is. It's just toxic fans. That's all they say nowadays. It's toxic fans.
So how did you two decide to do a review of that? Whose idea? Come on, Randy, Amber. Come on, guys.
It was mine. It was mine.
Just literally I mean, that has got more holes than your lump of Swiss cheese, I know. But
okay, but here's the strategy for it.
That's why you do it.
I'd watched a couple of reviews. I think I watched Disparu and someone else, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so horrible. This has got to be the absolute worst thing ever. And then my brain clicked. I'm like, but is it, right? So in order to do a series of reviews, like, is this the worst thing ever made? You have to do the first one, which we did, right? And now we're going to be doing stuff that. So we watched Fairview. And Amber and I are split on that. I'm not gonna, you have to watch our review. You have to watch our channel in order to find out which one votes as which. But I thought that would be just such an interesting thing. Let's really look at the bottom of the barrel and give more of a definitive, yes, this is the worst thing ever made. Right. And in my mind, I think it's going to be Velma. I mean, right off the bat, I think that's going to be it.
So, having watched the whole series, is there like any redeeming factor in Velma at all? Anything, even small?
I mean, I didn't watch the whole series. I've spot watched a few moments so that I could be more accurate on what I'm doing, seeing patterns for the series and everything. And there are a couple of moments. There's a couple of things that I think are funny, right? That they're very far and few between. And in our review, we did talk about this. So Norbert's dad is like a counselor or something, and he has a cardigan sweater, and he loans or gives the cardigan sweater to Norbert, right? And Norbert goes to prison, he visits prison, right, to help those poor individuals in prison. And there's a riot. And then when he comes back home, the dad says, with mediocre power comes mediocre responsibility. He takes the cardigan back. You know what? That's actually, it's funny.
That's funny.
See, if I tell it, people are going to probably chuckle, right? Because I have good delivery on that, and it's not surrounded by all the hate. But when I watched it, I'm like, I don't know, is that funny? I had to think about it, right? And then like after I'm not watching the show and all the toxic comments, I'm like, no, that was funny, right? So there are
is a broken watch can be the right time twice a day.
Yeah, absolutely. There are a couple moments that are funny, not hilarious, but I got a chuckle out of it, or at least a grin. So yeah, there's a couple things that are good, but not worth watching. I mean, how can you watch something that if you get to something that's actually good, you can't enjoy it because your mind is just overwhelmed with all the negative and all the garbage there, right? I mean, that there's something fundamentally wrong with a show where you can't actually enjoy the good parts of it.
Did Mindy Kaling actually like Scooby Doo? It feels like this is her most hated IP. It's literally like it's her most hated IP. Like she's like she hates dogs or something. And how am I going to deconstruct the whole thing as much as possible and wind up everyone? It just didn't make sense. Like that first episode, like the opening bit in the shower, no idea what the hell that was about. Then you go into
saying, the opening scene in a adult cartoon is a gratuitous, and you're thinking, I was thinking to myself, oh, really? You really?
Yeah. Even with the two cockroaches.
It's
like, what's the point of that?
But then like the stepmom, but like the pregnant stepmom and the hands coming out of the stomach, then she strips off for the photo shoot. It's like, what? How's this any relevance to
just grossing out for gross out sake, wasn't it?
That's it. That's all it was.
What's that got to do with
shock and awe?
That's like mixing. That's like mixing the classic Scooby-Doo. Essentially, what this is, you've mixed the classic Scooby-Doo cartoon with a bit of South Park, a bit of Family Guy, a bit of Fourth Wall Breaking, and then decided to mash it all up in a blender, then add a giant shit into it as well.
One of Scooby-Doo's, one of the white ones, one of the white ones that dogs do in the garden in the summer.
Okay, I think that what happened is when they were pitching the show, when they were planning and everything, I think they were like, hey, let us make this the edgiest show that there will ever be. We are going to show them edgy. And that is what we got. We got stuff that is always pushing for that edge. And I don't know that someone could be edgier than that. I mean, I don't know what you could do to make it worse, right? To push it farther away from what people like. I mean, because that's what happens. Edge, when you go too far, you've pushed it out of the bounds of what people enjoy.
But like,
what sense is there to confirm season 2?
You know, when you're saying like that, when they pitched the show, it's like, I don't know in the US if you have the sweets, in the UK we have Haribo jellies, and they do a series of adverts where adults have got children's voices, and they're going. Or you got like two policemen and they're going, we really like these sweets, but they've got kids' voices.
Yeah.
And it's almost like they pitched to this group of producers that were going with their Haribo jellies. Yeah, I think this will be good. I like it. And it gets made. Like what producer would have just signed off on it, like green-lit it? Said, yes, I do solemnly swear to give you the funds to make this.
You got to wonder if maybe it was produced in order to be so severely hated, because there's an audience. People love to hate it.
That would be it's controversial.
We always use the
subversive, but it's HBO Max sounds to be subversive. Who in
over the years
put advertising in between Velma? No, it's not network, but who wants to be associated with that show?
But over the years,
Max any good?
Over the years, we've always used the analogy.
In the cock, to be fair.
Over the years, we've always used the analogy of the writers' room, right? So we've always used that analogy when there's a show or when there's decisions that are made in a story or whatever sort of thing it is. We've always used the analogy of the writers' room. When that idea gets brought to the table, the creators' table. But when that idea gets brought to the table, at what point do you just sign off on it? I don't get this decision, especially with this show. More than
say, Mindy, love.
That's shit.
No, just no.
Yeah, I just don't get it.
No.
Just say no.
No.
I'm surprised it wound me up. So I wasn't even a big Scooby-Doo fan. It's even wound me up. I would
have bought a Great Dane in and said,
yeah,
go fetch, eat.
Yeah.
Shaggy.
But I wasn't even a big Scooby-Doo fan. It's wound me up. I'm surprised by how much it has wound me up.
It doesn't matter. It's just going to wind you up because it's shit.
In those films, that's
with being a fan.
They got the Scooby-Doo franchise. Did they not do 2 or 3 decent films with old Buffy in them? live action.
I don't know about decent. They were okay. They were.
They earned dough, and if
Hey?
they earned money,
They earned money, yeah, of course,
that
because they were
makes
Scooby-Doo
sense
films.
to a sensible group of producers at the top of HBO Max, and they still done the animated films of them as well. So they're doing all that, and it's earning dough, and it's getting rotated, and they're selling them on to different platforms. And then this idiot comes along and says, "Let's just fuck that."
Yeah, quite literally. Yeah.
Anyone got a match? I've got a bottle of vodka here because I use.
Yeah.
Well, there's not a lot left because I was drinking this all the way through the writing process. But I'm going to use what's left. Here we go. That's your Scooby-Doo franchise there. Hey, funny.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's what I'm telling you. I think it's on purpose. I think that they've made something so full of bitterness and vitriol in order to create something that people hate. I mean, I'm wondering if it's an experiment. Like, will this pass? And guess what? They made enough money to get a season 2.
But literally,
that's assuming that they've got the intelligence to make the worst thing ever. Like, so
but literally, her mum left her.
Space race to reach the bottom now. Like, who can make the worst? Like, Disney started it, and now they're at HBO Max. They're shouting across the offices. They're opening up their office window and shouting across the
literally.
We're going to do worse than that, you pricks.
Yeah. Willow, watch this.
The window, yeah. You done Willow. You got out of Velma, you wankers. Oh.
But literally, the main character of Velma is so unlikable. Our own mum walked out on her. So how are we supposed to like her as a fucking audience? It doesn't make sense.
Oh, who eats uncooked chips?
I don't think you're supposed to.
I was going to say that's my takeaway from the program, but I won't go there. See what I did there?
So I'm wondering if they'll start a category or a show, a set of awards like the Oscars, except for the worst that Hollywood has.
Yeah. Oh, a bit like the Razzies.
Raspberries, yeah.
Like the Razzies, but they're being serious about it, right? They're like, oh yes, we're here to honor the worst in the industry. And they're totally being serious.
Badters. So are you guys going to do Velma anymore? Or did you think one and done?
Yeah, I mean, it's horrible. We have a gauge, a landmark. I'm sorry, not a landmark. We have a mark that we can compare other shows to. And it was horrible. I don't want to watch anymore. I mean, I watched what I watched for the show. And
doing any more videos in the early days. In the early days of my channel, guys, I started reviewing certain shows, and I've got like 2 or 3 episodes in. One of them was the other computer game. That Netflix did, Resident Evil.
Oh.
And I watched the first episode, and in my inimitable style, I mocked it. I took the piss. It was really shit. I took the piss. I watched the second episode. I've done the same. I think I might have got... No, I did episodes 2 and 3 in one video. And then I just didn't do any more. Because I couldn't push myself through. At that time, there's no monetization. And I thought, why am I doing this to myself?
Yeah.
Why am I doing this to myself? You know, I'm getting like 71 views and 4 likes. But I'm in pain. Like I'm an emotional wreck in the floor, like doing more drugs and drink than I've ever done in my life, just to get 71 views. So,
and for me, the amazing thing is, I like watching bad movies. I mean, so I'll like watch bad martial arts movies. I'll watch the old 50s horrible sci-fi movies, right?
Start me and Liz off. Me and Liz love a bit of that.
Oh, nuns with big guns, mate. You can't beat that.
Nuns with big guns.
And so, you know, you would think
Larmageddon.
You would think that since I like bad movies on occasion, right, that I would be more tolerant of Velma, but no, it's just so bad. It goes beyond bad to just a whole different realm. We have to come up with a new word. It can't just be bad. It's got to be something worse than bad.
Ooh, Velma is going to be. It's going to be. What is it? The adjective? Is it like it's going to be?
So Velma.
That was so
Velma. Yeah.
That's it. Just Velma is the new bad. They're bad.
Right.
Bad.
Was it a bit Velma? Yeah.
It did Velma.
So,
Randy, sorry, I've got to jump on it. What's the worst movie you've ever seen? Movie out of all your bad movies.
Oh, there was a movie, oh gosh, back in, I don't know, about 85, something, The Lair of the White Worm.
Oh my God.
I mean, that was incredibly atrocious. I mean, it has to be the worst one because I still remember how much I hated it. And there's a lot of movies I hated, and I just remember that I hated something, but that one I actually remembered the movie, and it was so horrible.
I don't know if you can get it on Netflix in the States, but try and find a movie called I Am Vengeance.
I think I'll pass.
Well, tight.
That's bad.
Don't make me cry. I've got shares in that. I've got fucking hell. Don't follow my stocks and shares advice.
Yeah.
So the Super Bowl was big, wasn't it? Obviously, always is. So the trailers. Did you both start late? Well, you didn't have to start late. Did anyone?
No, I jumped on the traders. I jumped on the traders the next morning. First thing the next morning. There was I went straight.
All I kept hearing about the Super Bowl was Rihanna this, Rihanna that, Rihanna. Oh God, it was just like, yeah, that was terrible.
Oh, who won anyway? The Super Bowl.
The Chiefs. I mean, it was a great game. I don't know who are fans of American football out there, but if you wanted a great Super Bowl game, that was probably one of the best Super Bowl games there's been. So it was an excellent game. Yeah, the score was 35-38. You know, they almost went into overtime. I mean, just amazing place. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even bother. I was editing, but I watched the commercials. I'm in it for the commercials only. My whole family, we will not even be looking at the TV when the football game is on, but when the commercials are on, we're like, guys, the commercials are on.
Oh, that's it. That's the one. I love that Popcorners one with the Breaking Bad guys.
I thought the commercials were entertaining, but I felt like they weren't as good as past ones. I just didn't feel like I was coming away from any of them laughing my ass off as I have in past Super
really?
Bowls.
I thought the Breaking Bad one was awesome.
I did too. And my favorite was the one with Ozzy Osbourne. And he goes, I've done a lot of bad things. I've done my share of bad things in life and your share of bad things. And I thought that was the best of the night.
I like the waiting room music. And I don't even know if they're a famous couple, but there was a couple sitting in their living room, and the gal is on hold. It was a Bud Light commercial, and it's that same song that you always hear. I mean, I would say about half of all waiting machines, you know, when you call up and you get the music while you're waiting on hold, and the husband comes in and starts dancing to it. They're like totally jamming out to this music. And I'm like, okay, it felt so relatable. I think that's why I enjoyed that so much, is that I was like, yes, that music that we all have heard a million times. So that was the best one for me, even more so than Breaking Bad, even though I really liked that one.
But film trailer wise, anyone have any thoughts on the Indiana Jones new trailer compared to the old trailer?
I haven't seen it. So
it was an improvement, but I'm still very.
Don't worry about it, mate.
Oh well, I mean, I saw the news on like.
I didn't ask for a lot of research from the team. Do you know what I mean? Trailer, but don't worry about it, mate. You've been busy.
Yeah, today I have. You know that, but no, I saw the news on the update to the budget,
even Wiggies,
reshoots and everything that they've been doing.
Yeah.
Oof.
Okay, I judge a movie coming out by the trailer, right? And what I do is, do I understand what the story is? Have they conveyed to me enough elements that I feel that there's a good story? Because what I find is if I see the trailer and I really don't know what the story's about, they haven't written a good enough story to capture my attention when I go. And when I see that, the only thing I remember is Nazis. Okay, that's not a story, right? Just there's going to be Nazis in it, and that's all I know, and that's not enough for me to want to go see it.
I mean, the glaringly obvious thing for me with the Super Bowl trailer compared to the one they released earlier And in between these two trailers was, like Tayters just said, all the reshoots and the rehashes and the farting around and going back. And the budget is nearly hitting 300 million now, reportedly. 300 million. And that's not a rumour, because it's been revealed that the company name, because they filmed it most of it in England, and to get the tax breaks, you've got to release the accounts to get your tax breaks back. Anyway, the company that's made it, 294 point something million to make this film.
And it's going to pull in less than 100 million. I mean, much less is my prediction.
Yeah.
But what I did notice was the fact that in the first trailer, Indy, you've got old Fleabag there going, yeah, he's old, don't listen to him. And all the rumours were swirling around about the end and the time travel bit and all that. And he's gonna die saving, like, young Indy is saving old Indy. They're both gonna die, and she's gonna put his hat on. This trailer, she's hanging off the bottom of a plane, and he's saying, "What are you doing here?" And she's saying, "I'm here to rescue you." He jumps out of the plane and rescues her. And I thought I might be micromanaging it too much, but I've seen that is a big switch between the first trailer, having her ready with Kathleen Kennedy behind her with arms folded, saying, "Yep, down with the patriarchy. We need a woman wearing the hat." And now this trailer and old Mangold, who's directing it, this is the bit that doesn't fit for me. He's not an idiot. He's not part of that normally. Even he's doubling down on some of this stuff. And then old, is it John Williams who does he put his foot in it, didn't he? And said that, I've had to do different scores for different endings. And they went, "No, shut up, John."
Didn't they? I saw that article. Didn't they have like 9 different endings?
In an interview, he said, "I've had to do 2 or 3 different scores for different endings." And they're going, "No, John."
So I read a few years ago an article where they were saying that this is a thing that they're doing now with movies, where this has been happening for several years, where they do several endings. And then they test it on audiences, and the ones that do the best, that's the one that they stick in there. The problem is this: if you write a story that could lead to 6 different finales, you have a weak story.
Yeah.
And it goes beyond that, though, Amber. It's scrapbooking, they call it now. And I know we've spoken about this briefly before, but it is. And it is dismal that the biggest
offender.
A biggest offender of doing this. So they're just shooting scenes. Like what you're saying is 100% right. It means you haven't got a cohesive story, just film with a different ending. But what they're doing now is they're filming loads of different scenes to make all these different endings work. And it's called scrapbooking. So when that ending doesn't work, like you say, with the audience, what they're doing is they're thinking, "Oh shit, so we've got a scrapbook, all these different other scenes that we've put in, and then we've got to do some reshoot," which most films will have a little element of reshoots in it. Scenes that didn't come out, or something that's got to be better, or someone turns around and says, "Wouldn't it be good if we did this?" And they go, "Oh yeah, shit, yeah, we get the old gang back together." But now they're literally, and that's where I think Indy 5 is going to be the ultimate example of it all. When you can't see $300 million worth of it up on the screen, because 100 million of it is on the cutting room floor.
Or you could be sitting in the cinema with a little remote control with 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 on it. You get to pick where Indy goes, and you tell
multiple choice.
That's
multiple choice.
Multiple choice.
Interactive movie.
Starting a whole new genre.
Interactive movies.
I'll tell you the trailer, and I did say it in the hogCAST before, and I say it again because I watched the trailer before Ant-Man today, and it was Mario Brothers. I'm so looking forward to that film. I tell you, I don't care.
No, I think the one you posted the other day with Pascal Mario Brothers, that one was good.
What's that?
The one you posted the other day with Pedro Pascal as Mario.
SNL. Was that Saturday Night Live?
Yeah.
Oh, that was.
That's one of the
was
funniest
that?
things they've produced in years, actually.
Yeah, they've been off the boil for a long while now, haven't they?
Mhm.
Are
Yeah.
they going a bit too political, maybe?
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and that does get a bit boring. The
Dave
problem-
Chappelle did something a few years ago and it was legitimately funny, but I don't know if they've been funny since then. So
Because old Pedro, he does get vilified, doesn't he? Not that I'm big in social media, but old Pedro, he does get vilified for his political beliefs. But I don't know whether that's because he's being attacked for them, or whether or not he's doing a Mark Ruffalo and he just forces his political beliefs on anyone who wants to listen. I don't know if any of you follow social media more than I do.
No.
No, not that I give two monkeys, but the biggie, trailer wise, was the Flash.
yeah.
Oh yeah. I did see that trailer.
Hey, thanks for joining in, Tayters.
That's all right, mate. No worries.
This is
You're
the
not
one.
just making up the numbers, are you, Mr.
I've got a lot to say about this one.
So go on, kick it off for us, Liz.
So this is probably one of the only times I can outdo Hog on graphic novels or comic books or anything.
I can edit all this out.
It's probably the only time I can beat him. So I had the graphic novel when it first came out, and Flashpoint itself was Barry Allen in all of a sudden he hasn't got his powers. He doesn't quite understand what's going on. And he realizes the world has changed and he's forgetting his old world of what he already knew. So he's in this new world. Everything seems different, but his mind is slowly aligning to this new world. He's forgetting everything that's happened before. So Bruce Wayne is not Batman. Bruce Wayne died as a kid in Crime Alley, and it was Thomas Wayne that survived and ended up becoming Batman. You've also got the Themyscirians, so Wonder Woman, and the Atlanteans fighting a war that's destroying the world. They say in the graphic novel that most of Europe is underwater and the war is currently in England. And you got a little cameos from Deathstroke, etc. And Cyborg is trying to do the relations between Wonder Woman and Aquaman because they're fighting this war. The Flash slowly realizes that something must have changed in the timeline in order for this chaos to have happened. And there's a world without Superman. He then finds out that Superman's been locked away since he was a kid. So as soon as he crash landed, he was captured by the US government. He was locked away, pretty much in like a kryptonite sort of cell.
Got to admit, I love that idea.
And
that they found him.
Yeah. He's never seen the light of day.
Superman, love it.
And the Flash, knowing that his nemesis has always been Reverse Flash from the future, always is instantly assuming that the Reverse Flash has altered the timeline in some sort of way that it's caused this chaos, and he believes it's to prevent the Justice League from ever actually forming to ever foil his plans. But then then the little twist comes in, and it's the emotional hook. In this new world, even though it's all this chaos and the world's falling apart, in this new world, the Flash's mum is alive. Now, in the Flash's background, in the Flash's story, the mum died when he was young, and his dad was accused of the murder of his mum and put into prison. So in this new world, even though his dad's dead and died of a heart attack, his mum is alive, and his dad never had to go through that in prison. What he then finds out is that it was him that went back in time. He was down and he just wanted things to change, and he went back in time and he stopped the Reverse Flash from killing his own mum. So now he's got to come up with the massive decision of, do I allow this chaos to happen, but I get to have my mum? Or do I go back and basically watch my mum die and the world resets to how it should be? Along this as well, you've also got the Flash and Batman, they connect on this level because Batman lost his parents when he was young, the Flash lost his parents when he was young. And how they sort of flip it in this story is Thomas Wayne survived, Bruce Wayne died. So you've got the Flash that's got to make this decision, potentially lose his mum to reset things and put things the right way. But you've got Thomas Wayne, the dad that has lost his son, but knows that if the timeline's reset properly, then his son will live, but he will die. So the story plays out. The Flash ends up making that decision, resets everything, but he takes a message back from Thomas Wayne to his son, Bruce Wayne, to sort of give that closure to Bruce. That trailer had one element of that comic and one element only, and that was the Flash goes back.
Yeah, incorporate that into Mario Kart then.
But the Flash goes back in time to save his mum, and he creates Flashpoint, which is that timeline. You've got from that trailer, you've got no Atlantean War with the Themyscirians and Wonder Woman.
To be fair, though, I mean that's pretty epic.
Yes,
that's good comic page, and it's awesome.
There's no
cram,
but there's no. But more than that, though, there's no Thomas Wayne. So it's Bruce Wayne. Obviously, we know that from Michael Keaton, and there's multiple versions of them. I don't understand the multiple versions of Ezra Miller because he's
annoying.
But in terms of Barry Allen, the Barry Allen that we know is the Barry Allen that's in this universe. It's not like he's gone to an alternate universe. He's adjusted the timeline. So he's taken the place of Barry Allen. So the fact that now we've got two of them, it just doesn't make sense. And then they swapped out Superman. So you could have easily had Henry Cavill. You swapped out Superman with Kara, so Supergirl. And we've got, instead of the Atlantean and Themyscirian War, we've got General Zod. It's a film of confusing messages. Don't forget, this film was supposed to have come out years ago. It was originally envisioned as part of the Snyderverse. So with the General Zod side of it, that is Man of Steel. That is Snyder's first film. That is Man of Steel.
So but all that aside, Liz, what is the gang? So that's the background to the source material.
Yeah, but that's what I'm about.
Think of it as a trailer, for a film,
right? Right. So that's what I was literally about to get onto, because I think if you're a fan of the comic, don't expect any of that. Be prepared to be disappointed.
Yeah.
If you're a fan of Snyder, then you're going to look forward to this film, because it's the only thing you're going to get as the last remnants of the Snyderverse.
But don't you think they've taken the best from the comic, though, Liz? Or do you think they've bastardized it?
I think they've bastardized it from that trailer.
Right.
But saying all that, I predicted this film would be the shitter of the year.
Yeah.
However, I've got a lot of love for Michael Keaton's Batman, and I want to see that. I've got a lot of love for Ben Affleck's Batman. I want to see that, and I want to see it done good. And I've got a lot of love for Snyder. I've got to say it. I've got a lot of love for the Snyderverse. That was that little bit that we had.
Nice.
So I kind of want it. With DC's in a weird era where these films that are coming out are in that limbo phase of we tried to cancel everything we could because we want to like set a new era and start again, because we realized that we messed up. But we've got these ones that are so far in the can that we've got to release them. From that trailer, even though it's nothing to do with the comic apart from that one little hook, it still made me want to go and see it because of Michael Keaton, because of Ben Affleck. And it's basically a Batman film instead of a Flash film. But there was enough in that trailer to make me think, okay, despite all that, I still want to go and see that. And there's that part of me inside that even though I predicted it would be the shitter of the year, that I really want it to be the best film possible, so it smashes the box office, just so it messes up Warner Brothers' plans for DC.
Liz, I have a question for you.
Yes, what's that?
Okay, so you're talking about this being a Batman movie instead of a Flash movie. Do you think that could be because of all the off-screen problems they're having with Ezra Miller?
I would say that, but this film, bearing in mind it was in the can so many years ago now,
Okay.
this film, a lot of his major issues have happened post actual principal photography. So don't get me wrong, I think they've re-edited some things, and I think they've probably amplified the Batman aspect of that.
Okay.
But this was always their intention. Now, the Snyderverse and all that sort of stuff, if you used to ask me what DC was supposed to have done, I would have done something totally different. But these are the last remnants of that. I want it to do well, because I don't agree. James Gunn's announcement of what the DC is doing moving forward is the most cowardly announcement you could do. If you ask anyone what you want to do with DC, you're going to go, let's give us Batman, let's give us Superman, let's give us this, let's give us the Justice League. Creature Commandos. Like, what are you giving us?
I think they should give us Ambush Bug.
Yeah.
But
I've got the whole run of that.
I kind of want. I don't think Shazam will do very well, but I want this Flash movie and Aquaman. There's a part of me that really wants them to break the billion mark like the first Aquaman did, just to make the Warner Brothers lot just sit back and go, oh shit, what have we done by resetting everything? I really want that sort of question to go through their head, even though it's nowhere near the comic. You can see that from the trailer, but the trailer, I'm contradicting myself. It's nothing like the comic, and I can see that from the trailer. But if you give me a good story and you give me something that's worthwhile, and that trailer did intrigue me, and I do want to go and see it, which is what a trailer's supposed to do.
I thought that was
then I can
trailer.
Then I can forgive it. Then I can forgive it for that. When it comes, we've spoken about it before, literal adaptions or looser adaptions, where you don't necessarily have to follow the source material exactly. You just got to get the right elements together from that source material. Daredevil, Netflix show, being a perfect example. Sandman being another perfect example of a literal adaptation. And then Daredevil being the, let's take elements from it and let's like throw it all in there and mix it together. Walking Dead was another example of it as well. There's a happy medium between the two. And if you do it right, both of them work. But I'm worried because I know the comic quite well, I'm just very worried that there's a lot of potential. Like the two Ezra Millers, one's enough. That quirky, squirmish sort of Flash that they've developed with Ezra Miller, that works with Ezra Miller. And if you're having two of them on screen interacting with each other, it becomes that dismal minus quippy shit that DC's not. DC's supposed to be darker.
It's a bit like the Shazam 2 trailer.
Yes.
It's just full of it. It's just the same old quip-tastic. Just
so if this was supposed to be in the can back in how many years was this was filmed? How many years ago?
Oh, so they first announced it. It was when it was when Snyder was originally in charge of the DC universe. So you had
goes back pre-pandemic, doesn't it?
Yeah, so you had Man of Steel, you had Batman versus Superman, Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman, Justice League. From the Justice League, you were supposed to have Aquaman 2, The Flash, etc. Then you had Snyder going off due to personal issues. Then it sort of DC went into a bit of limbo, and then they didn't really know what direction they were going or anything like that. Then you had the pandemic. Then after that, you had all the Snyderverse lots saying we want the Snyder cut of the Justice League movie. And then that came out and no one really knew the direction anything was going in. As far as I'm aware, The Flash was in the can before the pandemic.
So with the changes that you're thinking that they made, because you said, I believe that they have recut it so that it is a focus more on Batman, then to me, that's a big red flag that this is not going to end up doing well. Because again, it's like you film something where it's going to work like this. This is the story. but then later you say, oh, wait, what we can do is we can change things around and make it a different focus, and it'll somehow be better.
But do you think the trailer, but does anyone think that trailer sold you on it being a decent film?
Yes.
No, we're all quite close to the source material, especially Liz.
It sold me in terms of intrigue, and I want to go and see.
It made me want to go and watch that movie.
Yeah, and it delivered on that.
Because it was a Batman film.
Michael Keaton was the #1 draw for me.
Yes, exactly, and that's the thing. And my other concern with that, and I said this to Hog earlier in the week. So again, I've said from the source material,
he beamed me up. He beamed me up to just.
Yeah, I did. To have a bit of a rant in the source material of it. Thomas Wayne is Batman in Flashpoint. You go back to that pivotal moment in Batman's history in Crime Alley when his parents are murdered. But in the Flashpoint, it's Bruce Wayne that's murdered. Thomas Wayne becomes Batman, and the mum, Martha, becomes a version of the Joker. She goes insane through the loss of her son. That's by having Michael Keaton. We know he's not going to be a Thomas Wayne. He's Bruce Wayne, and having Ben Affleck in it. That shows from the get-go they were always intending to have the draw of this movie being Batman. They've taken the key element of that story. The Flash goes back in time to save his mum, to somehow create this multiverse, which again does not make sense, because if you go back in time to save your mum, you're going to create an alternate timeline. So you're not going to get duplicates of characters. You're not going to get a Michael Keaton Batman. You're not going to get a Ben Affleck Batman. It's a well-worn
sci-fi trope as well, isn't it?
Yeah, but
going back in time.
But if you're doing a world,
I do love that aspect of it. I think it gives it a real.
It does, but if you're doing a well-worn sci-fi trope with you're going to go back in time and change one thing, you're going back in time and creating an alternate timeline, not an alternate reality. So you're not going to have multiple versions of Batman in that. If you're doing a multiverse and a multiverse of madness like MCU's doing, then yes, you're going to be able to do your almost Spider-Man No Way Home aspect and get all the Spider-Men back together. You're going to be able to do that with the Batman and have Michael Keaton, Ben Affleck, get Christian Bale in as well. But we're not dealing with a multiverse. We're dealing with an alternate timeline.
Yeah.
So again, they're tripping themselves up straight away because if the point of their story is he's gone back in time and changed that one thing and somehow it's created multiple alternate timelines, if they can explain it in a logical way, then you're kind of trying to save what you've done, but you're doing it because you've always had that intention of how can we get multiple Batman in one film, which isn't the point of the Flashpoint storyline. And if you're doing a Flash movie, you must not have enough faith in the Flash as a character to be able to go, oh, actually, no, we need to throw all the Batman in there to hold that up and support that.
Do you think this might have been a response to Spider-Man?
So again,
so
because this was pre-pandemic and it's been going on for so many years and it's been delayed so many times, I think this was their intention from day one. They've taken the source material and they're bastardizing it to try and get multiple Batmen together. But due to issues off screen, I think Spider-Man No Way Home got in there first and managed to get the Spider-Man thing together. And when they saw that it went that way, it's probably made them delay it again just to go, oh, let's do that. That's kind of what we were doing anyway, but let's go more that way. I kind of think it's sort of gone along that lines. But at the end of the day, I'm so conflicted with this because as a story, I don't think they're following any of it. I think they're going to mess it up. But that trailer, as Hog said, it's still delivered on a level where I'm like, yeah, I want to go and see that. So if they can deliver me a story, great. And I can be entertained and, I'm going to see Michael Keaton back. I'm still concerned about Michael Keaton in that world.
I forget what the question was now.
Flash trailer.
Where did you go?
We don't want to know. No.
I went wee.
Oh.
But the other
We were
thing with
listening.
Michael,
Yeah. Do you know what? I was wondering because he's only just literally there, and I thought, oh,
It's that scene from Austin Powers.
I better give this one to the side. We don't want to no splashity splashity.
It was literally that scene from Austin Powers.
Yeah. Shall I flush? They'll just see me go funny.
The only other thing I'll say on it is that Michael Keaton's Batman.
Oh, actually, I've got to do number 2 now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. You asked the fucking question.
Yeah, he asked the question and he fucked off halfway through your answer.
Oh, I did, didn't I?
The only other thing I'll say is Michael Keaton's Batman thrived in the Tim Burton world of Batman. I want Michael Keaton's Batman to be absolutely awesome because I've got a lot of love for Michael Keaton and his Batman portrayal and the Tim Burton films. I don't know, taking that Batman out of the Tim Burton world of it all and putting him in this CGI heavy, weird, budgeted green screen crap that they do most of the time. I wonder how that Batman will fare. Are they going to do a totally different Batman? Are they going to do try and keep him the same as he was, but in this world where it's a lot bigger and a lot crazier with the CGI? Are they going to try and keep that gothic element to him? I just want them to handle him right.
I hope they have all the Batmen.
And they're valid questions, Liz. They're valid questions, but it's just to please the audience. But I think what they're going to do with this trailer, I don't know if out of the gang has seen the trailer, but I think they're going to. I think that trailer has sold this film, and they've sold it on Keaton's Batman. And what you're saying, you're spot on with it. It's going to be Michael Keaton. You know, he's knocking on there, isn't he? So it's going to be a stuntman or CGI. You know, the sequence at the end of the trailer where he's going down the cavern to rescue miserable woman, Zara, Supergirl. You know, mustn't smile because I can't be strong if I smile. But yeah,
but you had Cavill there.
Sequence with him, it isn't going to be anything
at the time. But at the time, you had Cavill there, so there was no intention at all to go off the source material. They've taken that one aspect of he's going to go back in time to save his mum, but they haven't even followed the laws of.
Not a bad idea. You say this, and I know what you're saying about the original.
But they haven't followed. But they haven't followed the laws of alternate timelines. They've gone more alternate realities, and they've ignored the fact that they've got Cavill there. So you could have easily done that great Superman arc.
I think that they would introduce in Supergirl in that way, which I still think is cool. So they're breaking her out. So even if you still had Cavill on board, you know, go back in time with me and Reverse Flash. And when they were doing that film, they've got Cavill as Superman. Well, how can we bring Supergirl in? Well, what about this Flashpoint story? And instead of Superman, it's Supergirl. I know that doesn't make sense within the Flashpoint graphic novel. What I'm saying is they've plucked that idea, which I think is really cool. But that doesn't mean it's going to be a shit film.
Time will tell.
Unless we go back in time. But don't you think so, Liz?
I think he's muted.
he's had enough.
He left. He's done with the conversation.
He's going to shed some skin.
I want to see all the Batmen. I want to see Christian Bale in there. I want to see George Clooney pop up. I want to see Lego. I want to see the lot.
Yes, the animated one, like they did in the Miles Morales one, where you see Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Did you
just take the piss right out of it? Do it all right.
Trailer, did that not make you want to watch the film? I think Amber's getting a bit jaded with the whole superhero. Are you getting cape?
Yeah.
You're getting cape fatigue.
I'm for the most part done with them. I don't even bother going to see them. I'll wait for them to come out, and I'll only watch them if somebody in my family is watching them. I mean, even Guardians of the Galaxy, I saw the first one in theaters, and then the second one I didn't bother with. I saw parts of it when people were watching it here, but even though it had Kurt Russell in it, who is a family favorite here, I could not enjoy it because I felt like I've seen all of this before. Nothing felt novel. I mean, I got excited that he turned into a Pac-Man, which, you know, that was it. I was like, but at the same time, I was like, Pac-Man.
What I missed, I went to go and get some whiskey.
Yeah, well, I was making a point and I said, don't you think, Liz? And then you were gone. So
yeah, I had to go and get some more whiskey, man.
You were shedding a Randy, what about you? I mean, what actually, we haven't spoken a lot about that in the group, like your view on the superhero stuff.
Okay, I'm gonna take a detour on this. Cool. I'm gonna say what I would like to see in horrible self-promotion is a new comic company to come out with fresh ideas and fun storytelling and fun characters, and that really focuses on the storytelling.
There's plenty. You should watch my comic reviews. The indie comic books at the moment, the two powerhouses, Marvel and DC. You got DC doing Batman. That's about it. Over half of the books that they produce every month are all Bat titles. Either Batman himself or Nightwing and Robin and Harley Quinn and la la la. But they are, I've got to admit, their top books are good. They are good. And then Marvel, again, is the same tired thing. But in the middle, the independents are doing the fantasy stuff. They're doing the sci-fi stuff. They're doing and I'm finding myself, since I started doing the weekly comic reviews, I'm doing mostly independents, because there's been like an exodus of writers and artists from the big two, because they can get, instead of creating work and characters and stuff that they just get pittance for at the big two, and they don't get any percentage of graphic novel sales and merchandising and all that. Like you create, like say someone like Todd McFarlane creates Venom, doesn't see a cent ever again.
Okay, so let me launch off that.
Go on.
Okay, so from the writing industry, what we are seeing is that the publishing industry is getting much tougher, right? Yeah. So the big five, who there's rumors are going to drop down to being the big four, they have really changed their dynamics on it, and they're not publishing as many books. They're focusing on books that they know absolutely are going to sell. They're not taking as many risks with new authors and new stories.
Everything. Films,
right?
TV, yeah,
and that is also the same with the middle section of publishers, right? So I know the two publishers that I've been published through have both switched to wanting to do nonfiction, because that's a better selling market than the fiction market, right? So where does that leave writers? Well, I was given advice by one of my writer buddies, and she said go graphic novels, and I'm seeing that. So you talk about the writers from the big writing houses for comics going independent, right? We're also going to see writers like me move into the graphic novel comic realm, because that's where the market's going. That's where everything's going. Graphic novels are super popular. They're more popular than ever before, right? And for all the same reasons you talked about with the comic writers, right? The same thing works for the traditional novel writers. So we can move in there, we can get a better share of,
yes,
whatever's going on, right? And so I have launched, or I am in the process of launching my comics. So I don't know if I've mentioned it before. So I have one coming out. There'll be a Kickstarter coming out probably in the next couple of weeks for Kicks Comics.
Yeah, and I did the artwork was good. I did click on that. That was, I did like the art style on that.
Yeah. I found someone who's just truly amazing on the art. So I've got a good.
Can you announce I know you, in confidence, told me that you might have some voice actors that.
Okay. That were doing if you don't mind, I'll announce it now.
Official announcements, or.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I'll do that. So this will be a traditional comic, Kicks #1. And let me just say that the basic storyline is, in this universe, the sidekicks are the heroes. They're the ones who kind of secretly control the meta stars. That's what I call them. I don't call them superheroes. They're meta stars, right? They're really, and they have to be really careful. We get kind of a retro feel to it. And if you think about Batman and Robin from the 60s, right? And how Robin had that ridiculous outfit, right? And that's all part of the meta, the kick strategy to not be killed. Because if you dress like Robin did in that series, who's going to take you serious and come after you? They're not. They're going to think you're a joke and they're going to leave you alone, which is part of the strategy for the kicks to stay alive, right? And in all those cheesy lines, those are actually triggers so that their metastar knows what to do. You know, Robin says, "Holy hand grenades, Batman." He's really letting him know that he should pull something from his utility belt and use that.
Randy, this is a family show.
Not that
I'm not as good an editor as Amber.
All right, and so I'm glad that you brought that up. So mine will be a very family-friendly comic, very family-friendly. Yeah. I'm not going to get racy with the pictures or anything. Have you seen the art? The art's fantastic. So
yeah, no, he's good. Well, from the few bits I saw on the link you sent me, yeah.
And so we will be I will be releasing it as a traditional comic, and I will be releasing it as an audio comic on YouTube. And so, and this is what you were alluding to. So we, I have a buddy that's helping me with this, and he has connections to Hollywood. So we have 4 voice actors already signed. In fact, they've already got their parts. They've already sent their parts in. So I have all the audio for it. So the first is Bill Mumy from Lost in Space. So Will Robinson.
5.
Nice.
Huh?
And Babylon 5.
And Babylon 5. He is playing Lawboy, who is the main character. I mean, so he's doing the voice work. I got him. That guy is a pro. Not only did he do all the lines, he knocked them out in an hour. And then he wrote a theme song. So I've got a theme song for the Kicks. Yeah, he's so awesome, right? I mean, I couldn't be more excited. And this guy's such a pro. All right. And so then we have Claudia Christian from Babylon 5. She is playing the villain, which is Misdemeanor. All right. And then, yeah. And then we have Kaz Anvar from The Expanse.
Nice.
Yeah. So he is going to be playing the other villain, which is Crime Spree. Wow, that guy is great. He would go through and he'd do his lines, and he would record like 5 or 6 variations of it. And I told him, like, on some of these lines, you just go crazy. I mean, whatever comes to mind, just do that. And he did. And just some amazing work on his part.
He was great in The Expanse as well. He was awesome in The Expanse.
Right. And I mean, he's so talented. I mean, I'm really happy to be on that. And the fourth, I can't say because we don't have, we haven't confirmed it, but I will say that he was working on The Expanse with Kaz. So we have another one coming in. So yeah, we've got some people that hopefully are going to be recognizable to comic fans, science fiction fans, because these are people from those shows, and hopefully that will help bring people in. And yeah, like I said, it's going to be an audio comic, so we'll have all the pages, all the panels from the comic, but voices have it acted out along with it. So I'm super excited about the project.
That's cool.
Oh, very good. No,
that is very good. I love that premise, though. I do love the premise of the sidekick leading the way.
Yeah, I do.
I mean, I only know of one other thing where that's actually happened. It was quite a few years ago. Michael Caine's Sherlock Holmes. Where
right?
Yeah. Remember that movie? Yeah, he was an idiot. John Watson, basically. Yeah, but brilliant.
So I mean, that's what I'm talking about. Fresh ideas, fun characters, family-friendly storylines, and I think they're just going to be engaging. And I think I'm a funny guy, and this comic is going to be funny, but it's also going to have a serious storyline to go along with it. So it's going to have. I talk a lot about that in writing. If you're doing comedy, you have to have some drama to make it poignant. And then if you're doing drama, you have to have some comedy to lighten the mood. And so I understand that. I understand those principles, and everything went into story first. You know, I don't have an agenda or anything other than I want to tell a really great story, and I want to hook people. And I think there's a lot of great characters in the comic, and I already have plans for spin-offs. I don't want to say who because I don't want to spoil anything, but I have some great ideas for some of the characters in the first series of books that will spin off and do their own series.
Awesome.
Sounds good, man.
You just need plenty of quips.
I need plenty of people
The
to
new Marvel then, just plenty of quips, turn it into TV shows.
That's it.
well, and hopefully people will check it out. I mean, so if they go onto YouTube and they look up Kicks Comics, I do have a video, and Hog, you've already seen that, I believe, right? The video for it. And so that I don't have content.
There's two of them, isn't there? They're like concepts.
There's two. And the one is just to tell people what this is and what I'm working on, because it's going to be a while before the whole thing is finished. But I want people to see that. And, you know, frankly, we did that so that all the Hollywood celebrities, they would have a place to go and see what's going on, and they'd be able to see how good the art is, that I'm not just some guy doing stick figures, right? And that they would understand the concept, and they would see that it's a really good idea. And they have. I will tell you that the actors have been very easy to convince to do the parts, right? They've heard the pitch that it's the sidekicks who are the heroes and guide the metastars, and they've been like, "Oh, I'm on board. I'm totally on board. That sounds great."
That's cool. Oh, can't you link that in the
Yeah, I was just I think I've still got the link for it. So now I'll link all that in if I get an autograph from Claudia Christensen. Get you one autographed by her. I might think about it.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be nice.
My arm can be twisted, you know.
Okay.
That's a bit talking about Claudia Christensen from B5. But what's her name? 7 of 9. I know we was talking about it way back at the beginning of this, but she did make me feel kind of funny. It did take me back, and I know she ain't all bulked up anymore with all the wassit. And I know we've all moved on a few years, but I was thinking, oh yeah, I remember that poster of you with a silver suit on.
I've still got a copy somewhere at FHM from back in the day.
Yeah, I bet you have. I won't ask what kind of condition it's in.
No, it's mint. It's mint.
Is it all beaten up?
No, it's mint.
Yeah,
absolutely mint.
I bet it is.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking, oh, bless her. Look, she's there and she's saying, oh, you've got to call me by my name and all that in the first episode of Picard. I was just sitting there thinking, oh, in a little time tunnel. And I'm still thinking, I wonder if she's going to put on that skin-tight silver suit. But she didn't.
No.
Perhaps in future episodes, she might do.
Doubt it.
She might do.
I doubt it.
Anyway, we proper rambled off then, but that was a marvellous ramble, because I will ramble on about comics all day long.
Yeah.
And Amber said you can't get through the Guardians stuff and the superhero stuff, but the only other trailer of note, apart from Mario Kart, was Guardians 3.
It's a weird one. It's a weird one.
And
they're alluding to this being the last one.
What was fresh? And I know, Amber, you didn't think much of the first film. Or, you know, you got halfway through and thought, oh, it's the same old thing. But within the whole scheme of it all, I thought the first Guardians was a breath of fresh air.
Mm-hmm.
In all the seriousness, which I love.
Yeah.
Like, they was playing everything straight. All right, Tony Stark might make the odd joke, and so might Captain America. They might make the odd, you know, the light in the dark, the light in the shade within the script. But other than that, they was all played straight with good actors.
Yeah.
Guardians come along and kind of threw a little bit of an hand grenade into it. And it was anarchic and it was fun. And it was like a little bit of a breather from the heavy stuff. But this third trailer for this trailer for the third film, they're still doing the same pose with the guns, with a rotating camera angle round it. And I thought, oh, was this joke not played out yet? But
the weirdest thing with this is
two have earned loads of dough. I mean, I don't know how the first and second compared money-wise.
First one was more successful.
Was it?
Yeah. And this for me is it's weird because it's James Gunn, and we all know what James Gunn's doing right now, and he's now over at DC. Guardians 3 is kind of, I'm intrigued by it and I want to see it. Not necessarily because of Marvel. I just want to see where James Gunn's storytelling's at in regards to.
It's going to be the same old place. I think it's one trick pony.
I'm not sure.
He's another Tarantino. He does one thing again and again and again.
But in terms of
but he doesn't even Tarantino. He doesn't even change genre.
It's not even for me. It's, is he going to deliver a story? Is he just that one trick pony? Is he going to give us anything slightly different? Because this, for me, is almost like his job interview for DC. Because we know he's taken over DC, and we know what he's going to be doing with DC. So he's announced that very mediocre slate. I just want to see where he's at with this one. This is almost like my little taster.
The flip side of that, you saying mediocre slate, but you could call that ambitious. You know, Creature Commandos and All-Star Batman. What was the other ones he's done?
The Authority.
He's going to do The Authority. But we've had The Boys. I mean, The Authority, it's 1999, 2000. But we've had The Boys since then, because that's all it was a deconstructionist. You had Warren Ellis, Mark Miller, Grant Morrison. They was all deconstructing the superhero stuff. And basically, if you're not into comics, doing what The Boys did. Garth Ennis, an Irishman writer who wrote The Boys. I'm not much on it. I like it. I like my superheroes as they are. The deconstructing only goes, it's a one joke, like Deadpool. It's one joke, it's one shtick, and you're done. But they did make 2 movies out of it. I've got to admit, I enjoyed both. Same with Guardians. So you could call it ambitious, but I know what you're saying, Liz. Whereas it seems like they've brought him in because he can do a weird, quirky group. So they've said, what other weird, quirky groups can you do? Well, I can go, this is the Authority that we own. That wasn't even a DC property until a few years ago. That's published through Image Comics back in 1999.
I think for me, the overall DC, Guardians 3,
Wildstorm it was through Image, but
for me overall, I think Guardians 3, even though it's a Marvel movie, it's almost like a little taster of it's a taster of what's to come with DC. It's a weird one.
I'm just not convinced that James Gunn gives a shit. Be honest with you. You got to remember, he made this film after being sacked because of that tweet, and then come back after doing Suicide Squad. And it's just like he knew at that point he was out. I don't think he gives a shit. I got a feeling this is just going to be, I'm doing this for a payday. I'm contracted to do it. I'll finish it up because I started it, but I don't care after this. And I just got a feeling we're going to get to the end of this and it's just not going to be great. I hope I'm wrong. But
and bearing in mind he had already gone over to DC.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And then come back and finish this.
Yeah, he's already gone over to DC. He's already done well over there with Suicide Squad and Peacemaker. Regardless of what you think of it, they think he's done well.
It's all popular stuff. It's all
He's already got his job application in there ready to take over the DCU. Let's not forget, originally the plan was for him to sort of spearhead Phase 4 of the MCU. So he's already gone over there. There's almost that element of, I want DC to do well. Do I shit can this? Do I proper put this on a nosedive? But my name's on it. So I do think with the one thing with James Gunn, he's a one-trick pony, but I do think he's got pride in his work. So I do think he does give a shit to a degree, even though you got the animosity there.
Yeah.
And he's going to be over on the other team. He's there at the moment doing that. I do think he gives a shit to a degree.
Yeah, I do. No, I totally agree with that 100%, Liz. I think
he's not like Guardians 3. Guardians 3 is all for me.
The whole thing and mocks it, even promoting it. They mock it. He mocks Thor. He even mocked the special effects in that last Thor film.
Yeah, for me, Guardians 3 is more about.
But I don't think James Gunn's that bad.
For me, Guardian 3 is more about what else can he bring to the table. Are we going to see anything different? Are we going to see anything new from him?
No.
Because if we don't, we know cemented, in fact, that's what we're going to get with DC moving forwards. Whereas if we do see something new from him in Guardians, and we do see a bit more of an emotional story, you've got a perfect hook there with the Gamora bit from where it's been left off with Endgame. If we're going to see more of a emotional side and more of a darker, deeper story to it, then that gives me more hope, weirdly, for DC moving forwards.
Well, I got vibes that this is the end. I got vibes that this is the end. This is the last of the Guardians that they're planning to do. I don't know if I'm the only one who picked up on that. So no matter what, it's going to have that dark finality feeling to it. So
with that in mind, the only bit that don't make sense for me,
it'll make us laugh at it.
Yeah, oh, it will, but I think it's going to have that more serious tone, though.
But if this is the end, the bit that don't make sense is we get Rocket's backstory in the last episode. Shouldn't that?
I think a lot of it doesn't make sense. I mean, because we know that this is going to be the last of the Guardians movies, right? But they've also, and you see this in the trailer to some extent, we get the idea that some of the Guardians will show up elsewhere in other movies, and some of the Guardians are done, as in dead, right? And if you watch the trailer with that in mind, I think the trailer is definitely giving a nod to the fact that they are going to kill off a couple of the cast members, a couple of the characters, right? So I think it goes with what Liz said. We're going to get darker. It's going to be emotional, right? Because we're going to get Rocket's backstory. We're going to lose a couple people. So probably Drax, I think, is definitely the obvious one that is going to die. And I don't know who else, but he's made it, Batista's made it very clear he will not be playing Drax ever again. So I think, he's a goner. And I think they're going to focus on that.
It's going to be like going back to Endor.
What's that?
Rocket's backstory is going to be like going to Endor.
And I think you're going to find Batista pop up in the Warner Brothers DC universe very soon.
I just want them to focus on Weasel.
Yeah.
I think it would make sense to kill off Rocket too. If this is the one that they're going to give us his backstory, it would be the most emotional because we now know his full and complete story if you kill him off at the end of this.
Yeah.
Or make him the leader.
They alluded to that, didn't they? In 4.
On that note, that's quite. Do you know what? That's a good full stop to end it all. I think, guys. I think we've done a good old waffle there.
Yeah, as always.
And unless anyone else has got anything else that they might want to throw out to discussion, but I don't know. I think we've covered a lot of the latest stuff. Right up to date for a change, a lot of us.
Definitely.
Last episode we went back in time. This episode we're right here. We're on the pulse.
Right.
Tayters, wasn't there a Star Wars thing you were going to? Did that happen yet?
Yeah, no. That's Easter weekend.
Oh, that's right.
Yes,
okay.
yes. Yeah. It's Star Wars celebration.
Although we have had Star Wars related, we've had Bad Batch come out that's been pretty good.
Yeah.
So the more Bad Batch is out, and if we're sticking to our 2-week schedule, we've got Mandalorian next time, which I'm very excited for.
Yes.
Perhaps a Bad Batch for them, because I've been impressed with the last couple of episodes of Bad Batch, I've got to say.
Yeah.
And you've got to catch up with Clone Wars.
Oh, don't you start.
And Liz, have you done Rebels? Liz, have you finished Rebels yet?
Yeah, I finished Rebels. I want to
watch Ant-Man. Like, I'm suffering for my art enough.
Come on, if we're going to do it properly.
Yeah, do it properly. I've better catch up on the past 30 years of Star Wars for
that's it.
Celebration.
Yeah. If you can do that in a fortnight, you'll be good.
Yeah, that's it. All right, then, guys. Well, I think that about wraps it up.
Yeah.
Nice one.
As always, thanks, guys.
Yeah, thoroughly enjoyed that.
Good fun.
Yeah, thanks for having us on.
And Randy, you said Liz 3 times. I love it.
Should I not?
You called him Liz. No, he don't like it, but call him Liz. Definitely.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No. Keep going.
No, don't do that. Just carry on.
I will call you by your full title, Space Lizard.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
The Space Lizard. All right, then, guys.
Nice one.
Thank you very much.
Adios.
Take care.
Everyone. Thanks.
Adios.
a lot.
Great to see everybody.
You
Night,
too.
night.
Bye.
Bye.